for controller. Norma Alcala, she is from South Sacramento. She's on the city council. And April Verrett, she's based out of Los Angeles. She's the president of SEIU 2015. That is the union that represents the in-home support services folks, the folks that do God's work. Angels. The way we're going to do this is going to be exactly the same way we did it last month. Both candidates will come together. There'll be combined 20 minutes with each candidate having 10 minutes. They will be able to give an opening statement and then take questions from the membership. Andy has agreed to run that portion again. Andy, is there anything that you want to say about how you want the questions put in the chat box? Or how do you want to do it?
Some folks have sent questions to me. I don't see the chat box up, so if people have questions, please just email them to me or to one of the other officers, andykelly@gmail.com. You can just reply to the agenda email that you got and I'll see it.
Okay, so this will be the last of the CDP officers that we'll be interviewing. You might remember that last month we did the chair, the vice chair, secretary. We also did, what was the other one we did, Andy?
We did vice chair, chair, secretary.
The one with David Campos and Daraka Larimore.
There's two vice chairs.
Two vice chairs, got it. Thank you. So Kelly, are you here? Are you ready to be the timekeeper?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, and you have your time stuff ready to go?
I do.
All right. Whoever's running where the candidates are, can you check and see if they're there? There's no reason why we can't start early and maybe get done with this meeting in less than 2 hours.
Yay.
The candidates should be in the room if they're here.
While we're waiting, welcome everybody. It's so great to see those of you that are off camera. You do not have to be on camera while the candidates are speaking, but I do love it when people are on camera so I could see all, because I haven't seen folks in a long time. And also let's keep our brother Victor Aguilar and his family in our thoughts and prayers. I've got candles lit. He's going through a difficult time right now. So keep your good thoughts with our brother Victor. I should say Honorable Victor Aguilar.
Hi, Terry. This is Trevor, and I'm working with April. She should be hopping on any second.
Terrific, Trevor. Thank you for that.
Hey, Trevor.
Howdy, howdy.
Trevor, would you like to introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah, my name is Trevor Rogers. I'm based in Sacramento, helping out April Verrett's campaign for controller.
I see April is on. Is Norma on?
We don't have Norma yet.
She is in city council. She was going to try to make it. I did offer her the ability to have a surrogate in her place, but she did confirm that she would be joining us. Since we told them that 7:45 is when the program would start, let's give her the 4 minutes to jump on. And then after that, we'll honor the time of April, because April had to juggle a number of things to come join us. And then we'll just make the accommodations that way. But we're going to continue with the program as we planned in advance. So now is a good time for people to take a really quick bio break, and we will start promptly at 7:45.
And just a reminder, if you have a question you want to ask the candidates, you can email me, reply to the agenda email, or email andykelly@gmail.com. And we will include as many questions as we can in our time.
Andy, thank you for that. And also, I want to remind everybody, if any of you missed the roll call, to please either send an email or text me, or Karina, let us know that you're here so that you will not be marked as absent. And we'll make that announcement a few times during the evening. We have about a minute and a half, and we'll be ready to start.
Yeah, I'm driving off Cleveland State Bus.
April, welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Good
of
evening.
course. Did you know Mario Torres?
Yes,
That was heartbreaking.
it was extremely heartbreaking. He was a really lovely man. We miss him a lot.
Yeah, even though during COVID, he had a really great turnout for his mass and funeral. And
Mhm.
I even made it.
Yeah, Arnulfo went. Do you know Arnulfo de la Cruz?
Yeah, I know Arnulfo and David Werlin and
Yeah.
that whole crew. All right. Are you able to see Kelly Chow? Kelly?
I do not see Kelly Chow. I see Austin, Barisha.
Let me see if we put it in gallery view. Kelly, where are you?
Here.
Oh, there she is. Okay. So Kelly is going to be the timekeeper. You'll have a minute to 2 minutes to do an introduction, and then we will be asking you questions. You'll have a minute to answer the questions. If there's enough time at the end of the evening, you'll be able to give a closing statement, but you'll get a full 10 minutes. Kelly, show her what the card's going to look like to see.
Yeah, I still don't see Kelly. So you can just, Kelly, yell at me. I'm used to it.
Oh, here. You might have to get the other participants to stop video if you want to put in gallery view.
All right, that's a good idea. If everybody could go off camera.
You also need to ask everyone to mute themselves, please.
Thank you.
You should also be able to spotlight more than one person. I've done that for the Wellstone Club. You can, instead of replace a spotlight, you can add a spotlight. So you can have 2 or 3 people spotlighted at once.
Spotlight.
Oh, there, I see her.
We're ready to rock and roll, April. So you have a minute to 2 minutes to give an opening statement, and then Andy Kelly will ask you the questions as they come in. He does have some questions that came to him in advance, and you'll have a minute to answer each question. If there's enough time, you'll be able to give a closing statement. All right, here we go.
Great. Thank you so much, Alameda County Democrats, for having me tonight. I am April Verrett, and I am a candidate to be controller of the state Democratic Party and would love to have your support. I'm not really great at the 1 to 2 minutes to talk about myself. I'd much rather spend the time talking to you all anyway to create a shared vision together for our state party. But here's what you should know. I am the president and leader of SEIU Local 2015, where we represent 400,000 long-term care workers across the state of California, many of them about 80,000 in the Bay Area. I am a proud organizer, a proud unionist. I've been organizing for 20 years, and I do so because I believe that is my purpose. I want to change lives, and I want to bring my leadership and my skills around building power to the California State Democratic Party. So let's talk.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Since I think we're going to end up doing candidates separately, for this first question, you can have 2 minutes to answer, but take as much time as you need. If you don't have 2 minutes, we'll move on. There's been a lot of conversation over the last few years at the e-board and the conventions for the party about where the party gets funding. In particular, there's been the push by the Environmental Caucus and others to do fossil-free, no fossil fuel money for the CDP. And that's consistently been delayed by the last 3 chairs. What are your thoughts specifically on that fossil fuel money ban, but then also on if we passed a resolution to ban police contributions or other industries? What are your thoughts on how those can be enacted and how that conversation should operate?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's a great question. There are some groups, some corporations, some people who I think we should never, ever take money from. The fossil fuel industry being one of them. But I think just as important as who we shouldn't take money from, we should talk about who we should take money from. We should be seeking to build resources from people, from organizations, from institutions that share the values that we have as a party, that share our vision for policy and for the direction that we want our state to go in. And I think if we are very clear around our principles, around our values, and look for sources of funding for those that share those, it should be very clear who we should and who we shouldn't take money from. But specifically to your question about fossil fuel, I don't think their money belongs in our party.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. The next question was really thoughtfully worded for each of you. So let me figure out how to word it just for you. Labor is such an important partner with the California Democratic Party. From your viewpoint as a union president, what have your experiences been trying to work with the California Democratic Party, and how do you think the party and labor can work better together?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you were going to ask me what was my experience with working with labor. Look, I believe that there does need to be a very strong relationship between labor and the California Democratic Party. Our party is a big tent, but I think an important occupant of that tent are working people. And I think we need to build a bigger tent for our party, but we need more working people, I think, in the labor movement. And I hope that our party can do more, and I hope to encourage the party and lead the party to do more to help workers organize unions. The reality is less than 6% of the public sector belong to unions in this country. And I want to see the party do more to help people join unions.
Has Norma joined us now?
Yes, I have. I apologize. I'm actually on a city council meeting, but I wanted to have an opportunity to speak with Alameda. So yes, I am here.
Great. Well, if you want to go ahead and answer the same question, and then I'll give you 2 minutes to make an introductory remark.
Okay, I'm sorry. My understanding was we were going to have 10 minutes to speak. Was the format?
It's a combined 20 minutes.
I'm sorry. I do
10
apologize.
minutes for each candidate.
Oh.
And then you will be interviewing together. April introduced herself and answered the first question. So Andy's giving you the opportunity to answer the first question. Then you could do your introduction.
Thank you so much. And I do apologize. May I have you repeat the first question again?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Why don't you just start with your introduction?
Okay. Well,
Hey,
great.
Andy, can you spotlight her? We can only see April.
She's not
I'm on gallery
on.
view right now. So my name is Norma
There we
Alcala.
go.
Thank you. So I'm Norma Alcala, and I am the Northern Vice Chair for the Chicano Latino Caucus. I am president of my River City Democratic Club. I'm vice chair of the Yolo County Democratic Central Committee, and I've served as their fundraising chair. I'm an 87 delegate. I won on the Progressive Labor slate, and I have been active with the party for many years, but most active probably from 2012 to now as a delegate. I am a former steward and president for the SEIU Local 768, and I'm a current city council member in West Sacramento. I am also a former school board member. And when I served on our school board, I was very proud because I was able to bring one of the most essential things that our Democratic Party platform brings, which is single member districts. I mean, that's the only way we're going to have equity, representation, and accountability in our communities. I have served on the Voter Services Committee as well as the Credentials Committee with the California Democratic Party, and I co-wrote the High School Voter Registration Manual. I have registered over 11,000 young people. I've worked with the California legislature, and I guess real quickly, I want to tell you, I think the most important thing about being a controller is that you have to be familiar with the party and how it works. You have to be accountable and you have to be transparent. And I worked very close on the Disclose Act, so we would know who was behind the propositions. Well, it's the same thing. You know, we have to walk the walk. And the most important thing that I think our party can do is not take the dark money of pharmaceuticals, tobacco, and oil. There are other ways we can do that. We can, coordinate campaigns, grassroots efforts. We can engage with other organizations who share our values, such as the NAACP, LULAC, and I think one of the most important things that we can do to also support our party is to grow capacity with communities, Latino communities, very large, for example, and yet, we still don't have the type of input in party policy that we should. Thank you.
Great. And then we had asked, April had answered 2 questions, so I'll give you an opportunity to answer both the questions. You kind of just did, but there's been a lot of efforts to restrict contributions from fossil fuel companies and other polluters into the Democratic Party, but that consistently under the last 3 chairs hasn't been implemented despite being the official policy of the executive board. What are your thoughts on who and how our party should take money? And in particular, do you consider the executive board to be binding to your role as an officer?
I believe I would work in concert with the executive board, but I think each of us is elected in an autonomous fashion, and we all have voices that need to be heard. I don't believe in an autocracy. I never have. I think we need to hear more voices within the California Democratic Party. To the first part of your question, because I went to the second, I believe that it's really important for our delegates and everyone to be aware of where our money's coming from. As controller, I would hold monthly meetings. I would also, and I think it's important for people to know where our money's coming from. If you go to the California Democratic Party portal, you'll also see, I believe it's called Follow the Money, and you will see who makes these contributions. We have a lot of great organizations, SEIU 2015, April's folks make $12 million every year, but I think it's important that we need to engage grassroots people. These are the people, who are actually knocking on those doors. And until we do, okay. Thank you.
Great. And then the next question was, labor is a really important partner with the Democratic Party. In what ways do you think that the party can work more closely with labor?
Well, I think labor, after I've seen the Follow the Money, they have a very strong influence in our party, and I am strongly in support of labor. When I've run for my school board and my city council races, I have always been supported by labor as well as the trades. And to the question, I would say it's really important, although, to remember that, there are many components to the California Democratic Party. We have a lot of caucuses that reflects the interest and the huge diversity that we have. So I think it's wonderful, we engage more people, maybe from outside organizations. I'd love it if everyone could belong to a union. Then we would make sure that there were good wages out there, and that there were people were being paid correctly and treated right. That's what a union brings. It brings, people up to where the middle class is. But I think it's important to also recognize the roles that other members of the Democratic Party, the roles that other people in the Democratic Party have. So I'm just hopeful that everyone recognizes that, this Democratic Party belongs to all of us.
Oh, great. Thank you. And then I'm going to ask you the next question first, then I'll go to April, and then we'll rotate. We have 2 minutes to answer this question, Kelly, because I think it's really important to our members, and a couple people suggested it as a question. What do you think you can do as party controller to help make the state Democratic Party's finances more transparent?
Well, as I mentioned, if I were controller, one is I believe it's really important to send out to all our central committees and to all our membership the monies that we have taken in. I know there's a portal there, but sometimes people have trouble navigating. So I would like to see a constant contact come out to let them know where the monies are coming from. And as I said, I worked hard on the Disclose Act. So, if there's any ambiguity there, I think it's going to be very important to know who's behind, making a lot of the influencing the policy within our party too. It's important for our folks to know this. So I would publish a monthly report to all our central committees to make certain that they are aware where this money's coming from. I would send it out as well to our membership. I think one of the things that we can do, as I said, to build capacity in terms of money is we need to be creative. We have to collaborate with similar organizations, and we have to engage our central committees on fundraising. We should actually be out there on radio, I feel, and every parade, festival, and demonstration, flying our colors so that people realize that we're a vibrant, living entity. We're not just an entity that comes up on election cycles. So I would do that. And I think in our own central committee, what we're doing is we are really requiring all our delegates to our committees to make an Act Blue contribution. We're asking all our electeds who we support during elections with money and mailers and other things, once elected, to make contributions from their campaign fund. I've done that. I'm a city council member, and I've given $500 to my central committee. I've given another $50 because we set up a sort of a pyramid to help support our central committees, who, of course, help our party. So I think those are really important things. Also, I think we need to rely on the national to help out in those areas. Most important. Oh, okay.
Thank you. April, the same question to you.
Thanks, Andy. And just so I can remember, the question was, what would I do as controller
to increase transparency
to be more
of where
transparent?
Our funding's coming from? Yes.
Yeah, I think that it's important to over communicate, right? Particularly as a new controller, I need to build the trust of the members of the party. And so I need to make myself available. I need to do timely and frequent reports, right? In whatever way. But most importantly, I want to get out and I want to talk to people. I want to know from you, Andy, and from others, how do you want to be communicated with about the finances? I think it's important that I connect with treasurers of clubs and central committees and regions and everyone all across the state to find out what's important to them, right, for the controller to do, and then put that into motion, right? I believe the finance committee as a whole has a role to play, right? The controller is one person, and certainly I will have a responsibility, but I want to make sure others who are on the finance committee also know they have a responsibility to be good stewards of our resources and to make sure that the party activists and leaders are comfortable with how the resources of our party are being spent.
Thank you so much. And then I'll ask you the next question first, and we'll flip. Caucuses play a key role in the CDP. However, all caucuses, particularly the smaller ones, at times face challenges raising funds. And per the CDP rules, the funds that caucuses raise can only be used for a very limited purpose, such as room rentals. What are your ideas around working with caucuses to ensure that they are financially stable, sustainable, and strong?
Great question. First and foremost, I believe that caucuses are super important to our party, but it's important that caucuses are independent, right? I think that is how they work best, when members of the caucuses can feel that those are spaces where they can show up in whatever identity they represent in that caucus and make sure their interests in that identity are being represented and heard from the party. So I think it's a slippery slope, right? And so I would want to make sure the caucuses maintain their independence and work with them from that purview, right? And again, I think it's important to listen, right? I'm going to listen more than I talk, particularly in the beginning of my term, to find out what is needed, right? I think that we got to have more conversations from a grassroots level and not just be grass tops down.
Thank you. Norma, the same question to you.
Thank you so much. I've actually sat in on chairs meetings with the caucus. And one of the things that we've discussed, I always say we get our best ideas, from others. And it's great to share it within the party, because what we've been doing with smaller caucuses is we have been having joint caucus meetings. Some of these caucuses are very small. So, even if they raise funds, they certainly wouldn't be able to afford some of the rooms that are there, and they may have very important issues. I know the Children's Caucus is very small, and that's a tremendously important one, because you're talking about education and all these other things. So I would like to recommend that the party actually pay for rooms that the caucuses do rent out. And I think since we have so many waivers, for members and stuff, sometimes it's difficult. So I think this is a conversation that we really need to discuss, with our caucus members within our own caucuses, and definitely bring it over to the chair's caucus meeting so we can discuss it more thoroughly.
Great, thank you. I think we are pretty much close to time, so I'm going to ask one last brief question. Maybe 30 seconds to answer, and then a closing statement up to a minute. Over the last several years, the delegates to the state convention and the executive board members have had a Facebook group where we've been able to organize. It's been really helpful for getting people to sign on to resolutions, working with members across the state. And for many members, it's the only way that they're able to connect with, thousands of other delegates that they wouldn't otherwise know. Recently, the admins of that group were informed that the party's going to charge them over $1,500 to get this year's delegate list. If you were elected as controller, would you give us the list for free?
Do I answer that one first? Absolutely.
Yes, please.
I think that's one of the reasons that, you have a controller, so that they can find alternate means. But at the same time, it's important to make sure that everyone is connected. There were so many times that, you've had these resolutions and you have had to go, because I've been on those portals and that's how I've signed up. So I think the most important thing that we need to do is we are one family, and we need to be able to know each other. And I think that's the way you're going to get, with good communication, having those emails, having those numbers. I think that should be something that we do not charge for and should readily have available to our membership.
Great. April, the same question to you.
I believe that official caucuses, parties, clubs, right, official entities of the party have every right to have the delegate list. I also believe, though, that delegates have some right to privacy, and we want to make sure the list is protected from folks who just shouldn't have the list. So as long as it is official, sanctioned group of the party, I don't see why they should have to pay for a list.
Great, thank you. And then if you want to go ahead and give a 1-minute closing statement.
Sure. I just want to make sure folks understand my platform, right? I think There are 5 pretty simple pillars. I want to make sure our party is one that is powered by clean money. We talked about, that earlier about having money that is aligned with our values. That's super important to me. We need to make sure there is strong stewardship and leadership of our party at every single level. We need to invest more in grassroots leaders. And as a controller, I want to contribute to doing that. It's important to me, as it is to many of you, that our party is actively anti-racist. We are at a moment in our country where I think we have to push the envelope toward really ending racial injustice in this country. And it's important that this party leads. I want to build a bigger table for working people. And I want to make sure we invest in the next generation of diverse leadership. Thank you. I look forward to earning and keeping your support.
Thank you so much. Norma, the same closing statement for you.
Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I think it's really important to have diversity in the party. I've been chair of the Chicano Latino Caucus, and I've been out there organizing. I've been out there doing high school voter registration. And one of the reasons I think we lost those congressional districts is because the party doesn't recognize how important Latino votes are also to this party. And, I have to tell you, I am sort of dismayed when I find out that the credentialing committee and the affirmative action committee at one time didn't even have Latinos on there when the appointments were made. The rules committee still doesn't have Latinos on there. So for me, I think it's really important for us to make reforms within the party. That's where I come in. I'm a very progressive person. I've made incredible reforms on my school board. This is what I hope to bring to the party. I'm a person who is not afraid to ruffle feathers. It is really important that we have someone who is not going to be rubber stamping. And I promise you this, you will always have my ear. My number is 916-821-9639. And I encourage everyone to call me. I do that on my school board, city council, and I always get back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much to both the candidates for joining us tonight. We wish you the best of luck on your campaigns.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause for these wonderful candidates who came out to meet with us this evening. Thank you both so much. And please be safe out there. Wash your hands, wear your masks, do what you need to do. All right. Thank you, everybody. I thought that was a great presentation by the 2 candidates. So we're going to go on with the agenda. And before we go to approving the February 3rd meeting minutes, I'd like to call on Elisa Marquez. She has a correction that she would like to make to the minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I did send an email to our chair, vice chair, and recording secretary. I did review the minutes and also the live feed from our meeting last month. And I apologize, but I made an error. So if you look at the minutes, it reads that I put, and this is under item number 3, old/new business vacancies. And I gave a list of individuals, and I mistakenly stated that these individuals were being put forward to be considered as associates, and that is not correct. They were actually the list of individuals that our AD20 caucused about, and we're putting forward for the DSCC consideration depending on the outcome of the ADEM election. So I just wanted to ensure that the minutes were corrected to reflect that. And I apologize for that error.
Thank you. This is a recording. This is a recording secretary. I'll go ahead and strike that sentence from the draft minute.
Thank you, and I'll move the motion to adopt the minutes as modified.
Elisa made the motion. Do we have a second?
Robbie Kreitz, I second.
Thank you very much. Without objection, I would like to move that the minutes have been accepted as presented with the correction made by Elisa Marquez, the Honorable Elisa Marquez.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. All right, next we're going to go on to the treasurer's report, and that is our parliamentarian treasurer, Royce Kelly.
Thank you, Terry. Quickly, the bank balances as of February 28th, we had no outstanding checks. Our state account had $41,995.94. Our federal receipt account had $71,994.74. And our federal allocation account from which we pay our bills had $3,361.50. That's a federal total of $75,356.24, and a grand total across all our accounts of $117,350.18. Second item, I want to thank everyone who actually has paid their dues. That's about 40 members. But for everyone, dues of $30 are due and payable now, except for club reps. Your dues are covered by your club chartering fee. The link to pay online remains the same, secure.aclu.com/donate/ACDems 2021 dues. That last part is all one word. Please considering adding something to cover the ACLU fees if you pay online. And you can also mail the check to the address that's at the bottom of our website. It's ACDCC, PO Box 3937, Hayward, California 94540. And finally, I have posted the final 2020 revenue and expense report to the acdems.org website. It's on a members only protected page. You can contact me for the link and password. And Kelly, if it's okay with you, I can give that to you and people can ask it of you as well. Any questions? Don't see any hands up.
All right, Royce, thank you. I don't see any hands up. Going once, twice, three times. All right, we're going to move on to the chair's report.
Chair,
Yes,
Madam
ma'am.
Chair, I'd like to motion to accept the, without objections, the report as submitted by Treasurer Kelly.
Thank you, Robin.
Igor Tregub seconds.
Can we move without objection?
No, I object.
So Pamela objects.
But I'm going to abstain, so I don't know if that helps you.
Okay. All right. So we'll take your abstention. Is there anybody else that objects or abstains?
I just have a question, Madam Chair. This is Royal Roberts, AD 18. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I just had a, maybe not, just clarification. The numbers that are on the minutes, I just wanted to reconcile on the treasurer's report from the February 3rd meeting. There is a change in the federal account allocation account. There is no change. However, there was a change in the state account, and then also the it looks like the state account and the federal account. And I just wanted to get a better understanding if you know.
Yeah, I can answer that question for you. Thank you. That's actually a pretty good question.
Thank you.
The state account is primarily a receipt account. We occasionally pay a state-only expenses like our annual filing fee with the Secretary of State out of that account. Our federal account is exclusively a receipt account. The allocation account is the account from which we pay bills where we can share the expense between federal and state funds. And what I tried to do each month is to replenish the amount we've spent in the allocation account from those two other accounts. So unless there's some odd thing going on, like a weird bank charge that appears that's only assessed to the allocation account, that number should stay almost always the same. Does that make sense to you?
That's helpful. Thank you.
Great.
Ms. Henley, Lynette Henley has her hand up too, Terry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure what the motion was with Royce's report, but usually a financial report is accepted and filed for audit. So if that wasn't the motion, that's the motion that I'm putting forward.
I believe the motion was to accept the report.
Okay, so I'd like to make a substitute motion to receive the report and file it for audit. And if I can get a second, I can explain why.
Robbie Kreitz, I second.
Thank you.
Robbie Kreitz is seconded.
Thank you. So I'd like to speak to that. I know Royce has been doing this for a long time, but any financial report you want will eventually be audited. And that's how we take it on face value at the meeting, but then it does go to an audit process that will confirm that everything he said he did happen. And so that's just a good practice with your financial records. So that's why I'm moving it that way.
Lynette? This is Robin Torello. We actually have it built into the bylaws that every 1 or 2 years we do automatic audits, and we have to. The chair would appoint people to do the audit of the books. So that this is the year that we do that. So that would be something that is automatically noted in the bylaws.
And for all those new people that are here, and I've been coming now, I think 5 years, that's great, but you should have your books audited with the amount of money coming in to this group every year. After about $50,000, you should be audited.
Well, it's usually every year, but because
I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just giving you good financial practices.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's actually in the bylaws. Okay,
So yeah.
Okay.
And I will lower my hand.
All right, I see Pamela Price has her hand up.
Thank you. Yeah, just to clarify, as long as I've been on this committee for now 4 years, we have never had an audit, and we do need an audit, and we do need to know where the money is coming from and where it is going to. And until we get that kind of accountability instituted and have an audit, I will continue to abstain.
Thank you, Pamela. If you could lower your hand, please. Sorry, we have a motion and we have a second. Can we vote on this without objection? No, I do know that Pamela will be abstaining. Is there anybody that will also be abstaining or objecting?
Just to be clear, the motion that is being voted on, Madam Chair, would be Lynette Henley's substitute motion.
Thank you for that, Kelly. Andy? All right, without objection, it carries as the substitute with Ms. Henley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the chair's report. So I have some great news. Last month, we reported that for the Alameda Food Bank, we had raised $6,334.51. This was all virtual online. And as of yesterday, we're at $7,644.51 with a net gain of $1,310 to go to the Alameda Food Bank. So thank you, everybody here that donated to that food bank. And thank you to Igor and Martha Krieger to help to make that happen. Igor, do you have anything to say about it or any other updates?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to call on Rocky Fernandez. Is Rocky Fernandez here?
I'm here.
Terrific, Rocky. Rocky has agreed to give us updates on the CalDem convention, when to register, any other information that he would like to share. And I'm going to go on mute now.
All right. Well, some of this is breaking news, although some of these things get spread about. Everybody that is going to be a delegate to the state convention should be getting an update by this Friday. with all the details on how to register, a tentative agenda, and a lot more details about how the convention is going to operate. The good news is you don't have to rush off and get a room in the hotel block, which is what many of us worry about the most. The tough part is, it's all going to be virtual, and they're going to be hiring a company to go ahead and try to manage it. Having almost 4,000, 5,000 people via Zoom is probably a little unwieldy. I don't have a lot of details on that yet, but hope to have some soon. As you may know already, the convention is going to be April 29th through May 2nd. I asked the party staff today, and they said that yes, some things will be going on Thursday, maybe even during the day. So normally you'd block off all of Friday for the convention, but maybe some of Thursday as well. And hopefully we know more about that on Friday. Also important to start watching as the ballots will be going out. According to what we passed, no later than March 24th, maybe sooner. And the party staff is working with a few different vendors, or whatever vendor they are, to figure out exactly how those ballots are going to go out. I've already voiced that, yes, the U.S. postal system was quite a bit of a problem for the ADEMs, but in the rules that we created at the last executive board, it can be done via options include email, fax, if that's still your thing, or the post office. So I think they're trying to figure out exactly how that's going to work and be best for all of us being able to cast our votes well and hopefully not more than once, based off of all the challenges of getting ballots to people in the ADEMs. So all the ballots are going to have to be back by April 21st. Those ballots have to be received by the secretary, aka the state party. Like I say, we'll know more about that probably in the next week, is what I'm told. But all the voting will happen before the convention even starts. So that's really important to know. We've already heard from a lot of the candidates, and more to come on that. If there needs to be a runoff, the ballots will go out on May 3rd. And all have to be back by May 31st in case, there's 3 candidates in any of the state races, and we need to go ahead and have a runoff. We did 4 years ago, so it does happen. And a few other things I wanted to mention is there will be a delegate orientation. They like to say new delegate orientation, but a lot of us need some reminders, or it's a new kind of convention. So they'll be doing that on either the first or second day. In addition, I know a lot of regional directors, myself included, are going to be trying to work some of that into upcoming regional meetings. Speaking of which, regions 5, 6, and 7 are going to be doing a mass candidate forum on the morning of March 20th. You should be seeing more details about that as soon as we actually get the delegate list and can send it out to them. But we are trying to get most of the Bay Area regions together to have another candidate forum. I know we've talked to a lot of the candidates here, but most of the ADEM delegates and appointees haven't. So trying to put that together. Like I say, stay tuned for more details on that. And then the last part I did want to mention is there will be no proxy voting for the actual state candidates, but there will be proxy options for people that can't be on a Zoom for 4 days or have to miss out on that. So if you want to get involved with any of I don't think there's going to be a lot of floor fights or things this year, but if there are, there will be some proxy options for that. I'm not sure everybody knew that beforehand, but I learned that tonight. So happy to answer any questions. But like I say, you'll find a lot more this Friday.
Rocky, could you give the date again of your regional meeting?
It'll be Saturday, March 20th.
Saturday. Oh, I had the right date. Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have questions for Rocky Fernandez? I actually don't have a question, but I just want to thank you for your...
I was going to say, Martha has her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't see it. Oh, it blends in with her ceiling. My apologies, Martha. Please ask.
So sorry about that. It's because I'm cooking dinner. Hey, Rocky. Also, there will be our request for dues, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
you will have to be able to pay your DSCC dues to be able to.
Right. And do they email Emma if they can't pay dues or anything like that, and not to be afraid of that because there's also a student amount?
My understanding is they'll give us those details on Friday on how to get those dues waived.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Emma gets a lot of emails, so sometimes they go through a different path for that.
Thank you, Martha, for your question. If you could take your hand down, please. And Pamela, then Austin.
Sure. Yeah, Rocky, what time on the...
You just muted yourself, unfortunately.
Sorry, I'm trying to show myself. Hello. There, I'm in the dark. Sorry, y'all. Rocky, what time on the 20th?
It's probably going to be around 10 a.m. is what we're trying to make sure we get all the candidates lined up. So, but it looks like 10 a.m. is going to be the time. Okay, and it sounds like this will be an all-day affair. Well, we're hoping not. I mean, it's quite an investment, but we're trying to work out the schedule. I mean, sometimes if you're sitting in there for 3 hours, you're not going to maybe get to all the candidates. So we want to make sure we're trying to learn actually from other regions that are doing this right now and what a reasonable time for each race is, since all of them seem to be contested. So I would say at least 2 to 3 hours. We're also looking to go ahead and break off into regions afterwards to take up any resolutions or legislation that needs to be forwarded to the convention. Okay. And how much are the DSCC dues? They haven't actually said yet. Usually the DSCC dues have been somewhere around like $85, and the convention fees have been around $120. I'm not quite sure what they're going to charge due to the fact that there's no actual audio, visual, and staff and all that. So I don't have those details yet. Okay. All right. But you mentioned you'll have them by Friday? That's what we're supposed to all be learning. What's going on there. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I love the hair, by the way. Hey, it's short for now. Yeah, that's right. We're not supposed to be going out still. I'm not vaccinated.
I love it.
All right. Thank you, Pamela, for your question. If you could put your hand down, please. We're going to go to Austin, and after Austin, Andrea.
Yes, good evening, Central Committee. I just, as you've heard from regarding the 8 Dems these last 3 months, it was outrageous process. In a democracy, this would not have been accepted if this was a general election, a normal election. In every way, shape, or form, it was not. These ballots were not in any other languages. It was almost like English only legislation in 1996 during Newt Gingrich. Also, with people with disabilities, that it was not good either. Also, the deadlines, the concerns that many of us expressed before and during the process was ignored. Also, many people thought it was like we were being a conspiracy theorist. But it was outrageous, and there's many people who did not receive their ballot. Many people don't know if their ballots were counted. I called so many people. It was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't got my ballot. Other people haven't got a ballot. And, I understand when people said, don't worry. And I'm like, this is, I shouldn't be surprised that this process happened the way it happened. And it's unfortunate because in a regular election, we would have recounts. We would have, a new election. We would have other things. And then when it comes to just Democrat on Democrat, it's kind of like this didn't happen. And it's really and a waste of money, because it's like, why can't we call it was a waste of money.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Is there a question?
Excuse me, but I'm explaining my process, Ms. Torello. I'm explaining my process because I didn't get my ballot until very late. Okay, now I'm blessed that I got my ballot. Okay, but let me tell you, and there was a wide range of people who didn't get their ballots on time. It was people left, moderate, everywhere else. But I'm going to express that, okay? Because as a person with learning disabilities, it is a shame. It is shameful that these ballots were not printed in another language, Chinese, other languages. Now, people who are politicians who should be outraged. This should be outraged. I could not sleep over 2 months. It is embarrassing. It is so, but his blood is on our hands. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. We should be ashamed of ourselves. This is why we lost in the House in November. Is because we do things like this. When it comes to a primary, we put ourselves in and we weigh in and we screw ourselves up in this party. Okay? And I will take responsibility too because I'm part of the party. But that's what I'm just saying. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for letting me.
Austin, thank you so much.
And Terry, if I could just say a couple of points about the ADEMS.
Absolutely. Let me finish with
Sure.
Austin, and then you could take the points. Austin, you and I can talk offline about how we could take some of your ideas and move them forward, or some suggestions. Okay. Thank you, Austin. Okay, Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, Austin, you're right. There were tons of problems that happened with the ADEMS. And one, the Postal Service was ruined by our previous president, not helpful. Two, we basically, because of the pandemic, had to turn our state party staff, who aren't a lot of people, into a voter registrar service. And that caused a lot of problems because voter registrar, county registrars are highly regulated, have a lot of laws, have thought all this type of stuff before and done it many times before. So Austin, you're totally right. We talked a lot about this. I would say that the ADEMS, a couple of things. One, please take the survey that's still up at the state party website. Two, they put out a 9-page report about what their process was, how they did it, which is going to be hopefully a really good guide to doing this well in the future. But also in the future, I've done a couple of meetings with a few assembly district committees, and we do need to come up with some hybrid structure in the future. Because one, the in-person part disenfranchised people that couldn't take off a Saturday or Sunday. The other part, we got a bunch of people that couldn't get their ballots electronically, couldn't do those types of things. We have tried a lot of those options as a state party. And hopefully, I've even put in the plug, let us go ahead and, because we're not having to worry about 80 different races and 80 different ballots going to the right people, with the state party, it's just the same ballot for everyone. Heck, maybe we should be able to fill it out, scan it, email it back, so we don't have to worry about whether or not, the ballot gets back within 5 days or something like that. And then the last part I would say is we are supposed to be getting more information and the ballots being posted, but the Compliance Review Commission for the state party just finished their work yesterday. They updated all the numbers for a few where they had some contested races. So those are supposed to be updated tonight. And so we should learn a lot more. But Austin, yes, a lot of us are frustrated. A lot of ballots went to people who didn't ask for them. I've got some good feedback on how we could prevent that in the future, so you don't just sign up 90 people down your block who don't know what it is, and we spend a lot of money. But yes, a lot of lessons learned from that. Hopefully after the pandemic, we're not having to just solely rely on that and learn for this upcoming election. And I'll stop there, but yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Rocky. Andrea had her hand up and I don't see her. Is she still with us on the Zoom call?
I am. I'm having some connection issues. So when I relog, I guess my hand came down.
Okay.
But I just wanted to be on the record for kind of the same issue. I still have people, because I registered a lot of folks here in D7 in Oakland, and they never got their ballots. So I'm just concerned about that because they registered on time. And some folks, even living in the same household, it was 50-50. So I just wanted to be on the record about that. And also, if we can possibly put maybe a committee together to plan better for the next elections. There's a lot of things that I think are concerning, the language issue, also the digital divide. There's folks that don't have access to internet or computers, and I think we need to talk about that as well. And part of that, forming that, I guess, structure for the next election. So I wanted to just be on the record with that comment as well. Thank you.
You're right. And just to be clear, the party does do an evaluation of this every 2 years. So all this feedback is really helpful, and why I ask everybody to do the survey.
Thank you. Next up is Igor, then Lance, then Melissa.
Thank you. Just related to that, and I am reading from an email that I received to this point. On March 1st, the CRC, which is Oh my gosh, Rocky will help. The
Compliance Review Commission. Yes.
Thank you. Ordered that 1,500 late ballots will be counted and that the ADAM results be adjusted accordingly. This mirrors the language of a petition that I joined the right number of CDP e-board members who submitted it for it to formally go through the process. The request was to have a special meeting to vote on this. Thankfully, the CRC just did that, and so we will not have to have a special meeting. I know that doesn't address all the concerns, perhaps many of the concerns. Certainly, some folks did not get their ballots when they requested it, but at least hopefully these 1,500 ballots that came in after the deadline will be added to the tally. Thank you.
Thank you, Igor. Next, we have Lance.
As a question to Rocky, has there been a discussion about infusing funding or infusing fundraising efforts towards the ADAM ballots? Because I know that there was a significant loss to the party in that, and you might want to also go over the lost numbers to everybody, so that way everybody has a little bit more transparency on the process.
I don't. It was a lot of money because we sent a lot of ballots to people that didn't return them. I don't have that number on hand, but yes, we are trying to recuperate that money. And so those who are, I understand people that are frustrated, but it was quite a cost to the party to be able to administer things that way. So joining the DEM 2022 program or anything you can do is really helpful. Yeah. We appropriated quite a bit of money to go ahead and try to cover the cost of doing an all-mail election. And still, it wasn't nearly what we spent.
And has there been any discussion about the fundraising for ADAM elections in the future, or?
Well, I mean, so one of the challenges is we used to recuperate money naturally at the meetings for the cost of the ADAM elections, just because we'd ask people to make a donation as they came in and voted. The finance committee for the state party then chose to get rid of that because we thought it was a barrier to voting. The other side of that is whenever we have it all done via mail and people sign up other people who didn't necessarily know about it, we still have to send them ballots and send them sometimes a couple of ballots. And that is really expensive these days. It's not cheap. So there's kind of a trade-off there between providing access, but also the cost to the party. So we haven't had those discussions yet because we haven't really got to convene to do that. But based off all the feedback we're getting, that's kind of where we're trying to get the feedback and hear the stories and figure out how to move on from there. And I'm sure that'll be coming up at the convention and then especially at the executive board after that, where a lot of that work really starts to get moving.
Thank you, Rocky. Melissa, and then Sarabjit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to go on the record as supporting the sentiments from Andrea Luna Bocanegra and also, sorry, my brain is not working today, Austin. And I think that a lot of people are being dismissive of these concerns, and these are real concerns. This was a huge embarrassment to the Democratic Party. And, and in normal fashion, the Democratic Party has leadership, has not really admitted that they screwed up. They haven't owned their mistakes, and they're just trying to act like, well, this was our first time, give us a break. But we are the Democratic Party, and our election processes should be small d democratic and transparent. And that was a huge failure of the party this time. And, we wasted a lot of money, and this is egg on our face. And we are all part of the Democratic leadership, and we should all be just as angry as Austin about how this was handled. And we should be all just as determined to make sure that this doesn't happen again and that we have good democratic processes going forward. And I'm glad, as Igor brought up, that the ballots that they received are now going to be counted and that the numbers will be updated. And I Thank you, Rocky. You have been just sitting here taking all the punches. It's not your fault, at all. And I just want to thank you for being awesome throughout this whole process. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to say this is actually something important for everybody here, because almost all of you get to vote in our upcoming leadership races. To be asking the candidates about. A lot of decisions are very centralized, and it's important to ask all the candidates what they would do, how they want to be involved in this decision making, because I think all of us, we have an executive board, all of us have Democratic clubs. We like to make collaborative decisions, and that doesn't always happen, honestly. And I think this is the time to be talking about it, because it's most important now than, and in the subsequent months when there's some ideas about how to decentralize some of that power, that all of you be involved in those conversations. I mean, that's really, I think, how some of this stuff happens. So,
yeah, and I just want to add, I just got to ask our chair, Rusty Hicks, if he would have done anything different, and all I heard from him were excuses. I'd like to be that to be on the record.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, Sarjeet, and then Victoria, and then after Victoria, Bobby.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to speak. I just want to reiterate the points made by the previous speakers about the ADEM election. I know I registered some family friends, 50% of the household, they received the ballots, and others they did not.
Then I'll go turn the camera off.
So my expectation, since the pandemic was going on for a long time, and we knew this, we need to do something about the ADEM election because of the pandemic. My expectation was that party would be more prepared to handle this kind of situation, but they were not. Just want to have this on record. All of us be responsible, and we need to set the high expectation for the next time around. Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria?
Yeah, so I guess I'm just, hearing a lot of this discussion. I'm just kind of curious if something like online balloting was considered at all, if anybody might know something about that, and the chance of that happening again in the future, because again, it is the year 2021, not 1821, so maybe we could do something about that.
Thank you, Victoria.
I mean, I would say I advocated for that because we voted for our Democratic National Convention delegates that way. And I was told it left out too many people. So there are concerns about people that can't do it that way. That's a valid, complaint, because not everybody can get to the internet or has easy ways to go ahead and do that, or the skill to do it. But trying to figure out what that blend is and how you offer all the options is absolutely valid. And like I say, we've done it where you can get your ballot, scan it, send it back. We did it via, basically a Google Doc, and we did it via the U.S. Postal Service all in 2020. So I'm hoping we get to that good mix and think through every way that we can make sure that we're not excluding folks and get it done effectively.
Thank you, Rocky. And it looks like Bobby Lopez is next.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor the point that folks have made. I just want to echo and appreciate all the comments made before me from Austin and Melissa, Andrea, and other folks. I'm wondering if maybe some of us should kind of get together and talk about coalescing these ideas, not just in a brainstorm, but maybe in some form of resolution, just so they could, and as suggestions to the party, because there's a lot of great ideas, and I especially want to just harp on the issue of language access. And so I'm just curious if maybe we can coalesce all these great ideas into suggestions into a more formal process. So I'm interested in doing that. It looks like other people are as well. And thank you for raising it, Austin.
Okay, I see Martha Krieger and Royce's hands up. So Martha, you're next. And then after Royce is Robin.
I was just going to echo Bobby's idea. And I was really hoping that Rocky could also, or you could send out the link to the survey. And that when we do have that meeting, maybe we could get a Google Doc with all the things in there, because people from all over the county called me to try and sign up because they thought I was still working for the party. And a lot of the issues there are the same ones that the Board of Election has. And they crop up a lot in our communities. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you.
Okay, Royce.
I'll get that out.
Thank you. Yeah, the committee that I'm a co-chair of, the Standing Committee Organizational Development Committee, was looking since early last year at the digital divide issue that I believe Andrea raised. And two of our co-chairs, Olivia Lee from LA County and Santos Garcia from Madera County, were the people who took point on that. And the CDP did, after one e-board, run an online survey and shared the results with us. And as you might expect from an online survey, it didn't really get very good results about the digital divide. Santos, I think in particular, was concerned that the area that he was interested in, the Central Valley, was not responding at all. And the responses were coming from the places, the usual suspects in an online survey. So Rocky, if the CDP is going to do that, it's really important that you do it some other way, like a paper survey or something, to get the people who can't actually do what you're trying to find out if they can do.
Very good.
Thank you, Royce and Rocky. Robin had her hand up. She was going to come after you, Royce. Robin, are you still there?
Yeah, actually, I just hit the hand by mistake, so I apologize.
All right. Then we'll go to, I hope I say the name right, Sally Alpert.
That's me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I just wanted to add on to a little bit what Rocky and Melissa were saying about this election and the chair, which is that, right now the chair runs the entire show for the most part. And, I got the chance to talk to Rusty, and I raised my concerns about it. And like a lot of folks have experienced, it was a lot of, well, it's not my fault. Well, I've only been here 18 months. Well, there were all these exigent circumstances, and I heard very little accountability. And I think that's a real problem because you can't have it both ways, right? I mean, you can't have both a chair, all the power centralized in the chair, and a chair who refuses to take responsibility when something goes wrong. So that's, a major issue, I think. And sorry,
it'll be another hour for this
someone's
meeting.
unmuted.
And can you bring me down close?
Terry, I think you're unmuted. No problem. But not to belabor the point, but I do think that's a really important dynamic that we have to be kind of cognizant of. In terms of the process, I agree. I think a diversity of options is better. I'm kind of a little bit skeptical about how many more surveys we need to do. We know what the problem is, and adding survey after survey to try and figure out what the problem is isn't going to help us. What we really need to do is make sure that there are a diversity of options, and the people who can do it online can do it online, and it'll be a lot cheaper. People who can't do it online can do it in person. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Sally. This is a really important discussion. I'd like to spend up until 9 p.m. on this. And Paula, you're up next.
Thank you. Thank you for the discussion. And I just want to add that, and I do want to echo what Sally Alpert just said, that, you had a leader who is refusing to take responsibility and using excuses. So there's a situation coming up pretty soon where we'll be able to vote and either congratulate him for his great job and give him his job again, or we have another option. It's up to everybody, but there are options to what to do with the situation. The other comment I wanted to make is that it is important to, this is sad that this happened, but it also shows the Democratic Party exactly what it needs to do. It needs to really open up. It really needs to take into consideration the Chinese, the Spanish, the Tagalog, the other members of our Democratic Party who were missed because we didn't have people thinking that maybe we should put these ballots in another language. And, that's excluding people. And we need to make sure that we're including everybody, because we are the party that reigns in California, and we should be making sure that all our members are getting the information they need so that they can make informed decisions, or at least have the opportunity to. Because if I have friends, down in the Central Valley who don't speak any English and who are voters, how would they know what's happening? So it's important that we really take our immigrant, I'm an immigrant, members into consideration. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paula. Karina Lopez is going to go next. I know you cannot see her hand. She doesn't have the ability to put her hand up, but she's had her hand up or has been wanting to speak for the last 15 minutes. So Karina?
Thank you. And I'm taking my capacity as a member. Yeah, I really support us maybe going forward with a formal letter from our committee to the state party on these three issues that I'm hearing, these three main things, which is firstly, the disenfranchisement of voters, issues around digital divide, and I've raised that issue actually at meetings myself at the state level. And then the third one on language and excluding people based on language. I think these are important topics. I think the surveys are good and it's important, but I just don't know what happens to that information. It just kind of goes off into the ether. But I think that we as a central committee, as a county central committee, should draft up a letter, and that empowers Rocky when he goes forward, right? And he makes suggestions. I mean, that's obviously, he's got the whole all of us behind him, and it's stated as so. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Donald, you're next.
Yeah, clearly a lot of these concerns are valid, and the process needs to be improved. But as we look for solutions, we should just remember that the next election is going to be after the pandemic, and whatever solutions we provide really needs to think about what that means in practice for the processes that were the problems and that existed prior to the pandemic as well. So I volunteered at several of these ADEMs in years prior, and they had very long lines, at least in 8015. And I must say also questionable party registration verification. And speeches that most voters would never hear by the candidates. And so as we think about what solutions we think the party should be doing, I think it's just important, I'll just echo the importance of hybrid options where online, paper, in person, all of it needs to be there if it's going to actually be inclusive in a way that we're talking about here. So mostly echoing what a lot has been said.
No, thank you. I think we had made a lot of vast improvements we just could never implement because of the pandemic, and here we go. We're going to be changing them again with all this feedback.
When I should be on mute, I'm not. When I'm not on mute, I should be. Okay. Diana Delphin. I can't read the rest of your name.
No worries. Diana Delphine Polk. I wanted to actually echo, I was going to say a lot of what Donald was saying, so I'll keep it really short. I just want to really reiterate too that the process was really problematic before the pandemic. And so if we could do in any way support the party in pushing for hybrid options, I think that would greatly increase the accessibility of ADEMs to our voters. So echoing what everyone else said. So thanks for taking my talking points, Donald.
Thank you. Next is Cheryl Cook.
I do want to say that one of the best ideas I got is if you register someone else, they have to get an email, and I get that has a digital divide too, but some way to verify that you actually want this ballot. Maybe as a way to cut down on the sheer number of ballots we sent out. That's one idea I've thrown out, and I've been thinking that through, but please send out more ideas on how to improve this, even especially in a hybrid setting.
All right, next is Cheryl Cook Callio.
Hi, thank you very much. I think this is an extremely important discussion, but we're repeating ourselves, and we've got a very long meeting. And for things like this, when we have real substantive suggestions that need to go to the party, perhaps we could put together a Google form where people can actually write those suggestions down so that they then get translated into something else, because we're singing to the choir here. We're frustrated because our vote isn't being counted. There's long lines. But I think that by collecting information in one place and looking at it, we could better suggest what could be done to fix it. Because I'm going to repeat myself again. We're repeating ourselves, and we've got a long agenda. And I think it's an important subject, but I think there's a way to collect this information, since clearly most of us agree that there was a problem.
Okay, so Royce, do you have your hand up to speak again? And Solly? Okay. So then Victoria?
Yeah, thanks. So I guess I just kind of like sitting here and listening to this conversation, and I keep hearing the phrase, the digital divide, come up a few times. And I guess I just kind of like want to push back and warn people against using that to describe the kind of the barriers to the election here. Because an election is not a Zoom call. You don't need a lot of bandwidth. And originally, the term digital divide came around to kind of refer to the divide between high bandwidth and low bandwidth people living in rural areas. And I don't deny that there's absolutely Californians who don't have access to internet at all. However, filling out a ballot is a simple, web page text thing. You can ask a friend, you can go to the library and get access to that. And so in the context of that, given that the only way to actually request a ballot was to fill out an online form, I'm still a little confused about, this idea that we need to cater to a paper-based population when the only way you could get that paper is if you were already digitally connected. So I think it's really important to consider, again, that we should have online ballots because they don't require massive bandwidth like a Zoom call. And I think I would caution against using the term digital divide to describe something other than bandwidth limitations.
That's good feedback, but I am dealing with a lot of people in my day job who can't access EDD or a vaccine sign up because they don't have the internet. They just don't have the internet, and all they have is a phone. And so much of our vaccine infrastructure is based off being able to go on and sign up. And also, no library has been open during this pandemic, so that wasn't an option for people, and they can't access a lot of their benefits and government agencies because of it. So I do think we have to be thoughtful, because I just know in my day-to-day job, I'm dealing with a lot of people that are still right here in the East Bay that cannot access something like that. But in terms of phraseology, I can, happy to get some good feedback on that.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you. We have 2 more minutes. Pamela Price.
Yeah, I certainly support the comments that others have made, and I know that the frustration that people had about it. And I just wanted to add that last month we hosted the chairs, and it was extremely frustrating for people who had these concerns to not be able to express that or have a conversation with the chair of our party about that. And so I just want to caution us as we go forward, when we think about the format for when we're inviting people to come and speak to us, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity. Particularly, it was very controversial. All the issues that are being raised and highlighted today were, we were aware of those last month, and we had an opportunity to talk to the chair, and we didn't get that. So as we go forward, just want to put a pin in that and remind us how important it is for us to have access to our elected officials when it really matters. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have 1 minute left. Rocky, if you want to have any last words.
Well, yeah, I want to thank everybody for the input. I hear everybody. I really think that hopefully we won't be in a pandemic, and most people will be safe to go out and about and do this in a hybrid way next time. I think we went from one direction to the other. A lot of people got left out of that, and that's really unfortunate. And so we have to do better in the future. The other part I would say is we just elected a lot of new executive board members. It's really important you reach out to them as well. and get them, because they're going to be going to these meetings where a lot of these changes happen, and they have to be wrapped in and involved in this type of stuff, because a lot of the regional directors are very vocal about this. We want to make things better, but it's, the executive board that does change a lot of these rules. It's 300 of us. So reach out to them too. They need to be involved. They need to be on committees and wrapped into this. It's a lot of weekday nights where you're sitting on long Zooms nowadays, but that's where a lot of these changes are going to happen, and will happen hopefully over the next 2 years. So I appreciate the feedback. Keep bringing it to me and to everybody else, and we have to do better. So thanks. And I think this is the longest chair's report that's probably ever happened in this county party.
Thank you for Rocky for taking time. He found out earlier this morning or this afternoon that I was going to put him in the hot seat. So thank you for agreeing about that. All right, we're going to go on with the chair's report. So moving forward, we checked with the parliamentarian, and the recommendation is moving forward. And I am standing true to this. The chair of the Central Committee nor the vice chair should not endorse in the CalDem races, because it looks like an implied endorsement of us as an organization. So I will not be publicly endorsing anybody for CalDem, and neither will Igor as the vice chair. So this is what we're gonna use this policy moving forward, because like I said, it's an implied endorsement, so it's just really, really important that we keep the integrity of our organization and our central committee, so it doesn't appear that it's a slam dunk for one candidate over the other. And in the case that there may be 3 candidates, we want a level playing field. We want people to feel that they're welcome and that this is a safe place for them to come and talk about their candidacy. All right, so we're going to go on to a new business. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it's going to work. Hostess disabled screening. Share the screen. All right.
Charger ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ.
Co-host now.
Charger.
Oh, I'm on mute, just talking to myself. You should be able to share your screen.
All right. So for the new business, we have some vacancies. We have alternates. Mike Henneberry will become Honorable Rob Bonta's new alternate. Solly Alpert will become Rocky Fernandez's new alternate. Andy Kelly will become Bobby Lopez's new alternate. And Tony Shellen will become Honorable Raj Salwan's new alternate. So we're looking for a motion to
moves to approve.
I second that motion, Nancy Thomas.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Lance Quan.
Okay, and Nancy Thomas made the second?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. So without objection, I would like to move this forward. Is there any objection? We're going to move it forward. For those of you that have your hands up, can you take them down unless you have a question to ask? Okay, moving on for associates, great job, ADs. AD 15 caucus prior to this meeting, and they're moving the following people forward. John Pilch, Janelle Gary, James Chang, Cecilia Cespedes, Terry Taplin, the Honorable Terry Taplin, Diana Marie Polk, Hector Malvito, and Pete Albert. For AD 18, AD 15 met earlier in the week. AD 18 met before this meeting. They are moving forward Selena Reyes, Aaron Clay, James Aguilar, Cheney Turner, Janani Ramachandra, Rodney Nickens, and the Honorable Malia Vela, Alyssa Victory, Brittany Chiquata, Desmond Iman, Melody Davis, and AD 25, Nancy submitted the following: Matt Jorgens, Yogi Chu, and Dolav Gandler. to be their associates. This is not the only time to move forward associates. These folks were able to caucus in advance of this meeting and to submit the names. The other ADs, I know AD 20 will be caucusing probably over the weekend to bring out associates at the next meeting. So we're looking for a motion to accept these appointments for associates.
I move Lopez.
Second. Who moved?
Okay, Howard seconds.
Okay, Howard second. Who moved it?
Nancy Thomas, I think.
Lopez.
Nancy Thomas.
Karina Lopez.
Karina
I'll
Lopez,
defer to Nancy.
I can't see. Okay.
I'll defer to Nancy. That's fine.
All right. Terrific. So congratulations to the new alternates and to the new associates.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I believe a couple of name revisions are in order. I believe AD 15 associated should be Nick Pilch.
It's incorrect. That's his name as he's registered to vote.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, you have aliases, Igor.
Igor, we did tell them to submit the names as they're registered to vote so that we could verify.
I never knew that. And I think Jadani's last name is misspelled, but she is about to speak. So I'm going to cede the floor to Janani.
Okay.
Yes, hi there. Janani Ramachandran. There is an N at the end of my last name.
There's a what?
N as in Nancy at the end of last name.
Oh, ends in N. Got you. Anybody else? Karen?
Yeah. I was just going to mention, not in the writing, but when you're announcing people, that Diana Delphin Polk is honorable.
Thank you. I did not know that. Let me put it in.
Okay.
Same with Terry Taplin while you're at it.
I think same with James as well, and Janelle. The honorals will really keep going if we keep this up.
Can you repeat that, please, Ms. Waters, for the record?
Okay, so we have Janelle, Terry Taplin,
John.
James Chang is also honorable.
Yep, James, John.
Both James.
James Aguilar.
James Aguilar.
So is Paola.
Nice.
I'm not honorable anymore. This is John Nick. I'm dishonorable.
Nick, you're once honorable, always honorable.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're introducing a perturbation now. 100 other people will.
This is the recording secretary, please. I'd like the floor, Chair.
Okay.
Can I have the floor? Thank you. So I wanted to make sure I got this correct. I do think it's really important. So Honorable James Chang, Honorable Terry Taplin, Honorable Diana Marie Polk. Did I miss somebody else in terms of honor? I did get the correct spelling of your name, Jadani. Was there anybody else that's honorable here?
Honorable James Chang, Honorable Janelle Gary, Honorable John Pilch.
Hold on, you have to. Okay, thank you.
I need to make a correction. I had my hand up.
Okay, Tony.
My voting, my legal name is Antoinette, but you will probably spell it wrong. There's no I. So I can send that to you later unless you want me to spell it now.
Let's spell it now because it'll make it easier for Karina.
A-N.
No, actually send it.
Okay.
Send it? Okay.
Send it. Thank you.
Well, it'd make it easier for me if you spelled it. So let's spell it out, please.
It's A-N-T-O-N-E-T-T-E. There's no I in it. I'm not that, and I'm not honorable. So.
Okay. All right. Any other honorables?
Solly Alpert and Andy Kelly.
None of these spellings or titles are affecting the roster, so I don't know how much more we need to do here. All these have been submitted in a different format to the actual records.
Okay, so with these corrections made, Do we have other people that want to speak? I'm sorry. Karen, you already spoke. Sean, did you want to speak?
Just for the record, I wanted to mention that 8016 will caucus before the next meeting to identify our associates. Thank you.
You're welcome. Matthew Jorgens?
Yes, just as a correction, my name as I'm registered to vote is Matthew rather than Matt.
Okay, and where are you?
8025 associate.
Yeah,
Thank you.
from Yogi.
Okay, Elisa.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to also state for the record that AD20 will be meeting this Sunday from 6 to 7. So we'll have an update for our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for getting us through this. So now with all these corrections, congratulations to the appointments for associates for AD 15, 18, and 25, and for the new alternates. Congratulations, all of you. All right, we're going to, before we go on to committee appointments, I failed to put this in here. We are going through Democratic recharters. And Kelly, are you here to give us an update about where we're at?
Yeah, I can do that. Would you like for me to share the screen so people will know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, let me get out of sharing my screen.
Cool. Okay. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. As you all can see on this spreadsheet, we've received most of the chartering materials from most clubs. And I think as of now, we're going to go ahead and fully charter the Hayward Democratic Club. Is that right, Robin?
Yes, they're the ones that we were able to review in time before the meeting. So, yeah.
And yep, and I think everyone else who submitted in their application will be conditionally chartered because we have to confirm whether if any clubs have made any amends to their bylaws in the last 2 years.
And also, Kelly, if I can mention that there is maybe one piece missing, like maybe a check or something. So they have, if we conditionally charter the clubs, they will have 30 days to get their information in by the next meeting. So that would be the Alameda County Lawyers Club, the Albany Club, the APA Club. I can't read everything, it's a little small. Is that BDC? That's Berkeley Democratic Club. The CBDC. Go ahead, Kelly. Could you read that? Because it's very small.
Yeah. So we still need checks from Alameda Lawyers, Albany, Berkeley Democratic Caucus, Berkeley Democratic Club. We've waived the Cal Dems. Still haven't received anything from City of Alameda.
Hey, Kelly, I have a quick question. This is Diana Delphine Polk, because the East Bay Latinx Democratic Club, we pulled papers to be able to charter. What's the deadline to be able to do that? Because we're just missing some contact information for our members and we're ready to send it in.
There is no
deadline. There is a
deadline. There is no deadline. If you're a new club, you have all the time in the world to get your act together. So you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you. So we have time to do that then, Robin?
Oh, yeah. And
okay, fantastic.
And just call if you need help.
Great. Thanks very much.
Kelly, could you read the ones and highlight it because we have to put them forward for conditional charter?
Yes. So those that will be conditionally chartered are the Alameda Lawyers, Albany, APA, Berkeley Democratic Caucus, I believe Berkeley Democratic Club and Berkeley Democratic Caucus, Castro Valley Democratic Club, East Bay Young Dems,
Niagara, South Alameda County Young Dems, San Leandro Democratic Club, Stonewall, and Tri-City Democratic Forum.
Okay, so Madam Chair, we wish to put forward those clubs as noted by Kelly and to fully charter Hayward Area Democratic Club as they were fully reviewed and they're in compliance. Do I have a second?
We have a second.
Second, Perez-Velez.
So moved by Robin Torello, seconded by George Perez-Velez. I see a number of hands up. Do you all have questions before we move on this?
Yes.
Okay, Melissa.
This is Melissa Swin Mallory. At the time that this information was allegedly sent out, I was the chair of Southern Alameda County Progressive Democrats, listed as SAC Progressives. Barisha Spriggs is our new chair, and we met this Sunday and none of us has received an email with the information on renewing the charter for the club. So we want to know who we should reach out to, because Barisha did email Terry and Andy asking about this process, and we were told that we should have already received the email like back in October, but I went back through our info at SAC Pro Dems email as well as all of my emails and tried to search for this email. We could not find it. So we never
we sent it in November, December, and January. Andy, I believe, sent it in February to your email that we have as on the Central Committee. It maybe it's because it ended up in your spam. I'm not sure, but we did send it. So Kelly's going to resend to all the clubs that didn't respond again for the fourth time to ask. And I did mention to Kelly that Barisha is the new president, so she knows to send it to Barisha directly. So. Thank you, Melissa.
We have a club email. It's called info@sacprodems.com, and that's the email that we put forward with our chartering application. And I would respectfully request that whoever's sending these emails, that they double check that we have somebody from our club on the list, because we were a new charter last time. So we haven't gone through the rechartering process yet. So please make sure we're on the list.
Melissa, Barisha and I have been in conversation by phone and by email, and I did forward her some information. And I also did an introduction of her to Kelly to make this a smooth transition.
Terry?
Yes, Sherry.
I am the president now of the Alameda Democrats, and we've been going through the city of Alameda, and we've been going through our membership list, trying to update that, and we just finished this process. But I see on the note that there was some problem with our check not going through. Could you elaborate, Royce? Or
Kelly, does that line up with the city of Alameda?
Yeah, I think Royce told me that for whatever reason the check got bounced.
Okay, because we haven't changed our account at all.
Well, the check was returned by the bank. They didn't pay it, and the indication was that they could not locate the account. I'm wondering perhaps your treasurer grabbed an old checkbook and wrote it wrong.
Okay.
Account. I believe I forwarded to Kelly or somebody a copy of the.
Okay.
So you can see what account it was written on.
Okay, Kelly, would you send that to me, please, if you have it?
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
Because that doesn't make. You're probably right, but we just haven't changed our accounts, and Mike's been our treasurer for 100 years, and nothing's changed there. So, and he's usually right on top of stuff. So, so when do we need to get this all in? By next meeting? Is that the idea? To straighten this out?
Yes.
Yes, next meeting. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mike Kuziak.
It's really inspiring to see the diversity of clubs, the number we have in Alameda County. I would just say, having just spent the past 2 months talking about ADEMS to folks and distinguishing between what a club is and what a central committee is and what ADEMS is, what the state party is, maybe this could be an opportunity for the central committee to do some education about this. I'd be happy to sort of raise my hand around that, to really encourage the public to think about if they want to engage with our party, go find yourself a club, and here's how you find it. So I'm just putting that out there as an opportunity as we reflect on all of our different clubs. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Evan Branning.
Hey, I'm the new president of the Tri-Valley Democratic Club, and I'm in the same boat as Melissa with I haven't gotten the information, reached out a few times, and so I just want to make sure to let Kelly know if she needs my email or if I can have a way of contacting her or what I need to make sure that I can get the information for renewing.
Okay, we don't have a chat box, so we'll connect with you offline.
Okay.
If you can connect with me just really quickly, you can connect with me through Sean Kumagai. He's the 16 rep. Thanks.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay, Mrs. Howard, I don't remember getting anything for the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club, so it can be sent out again. And I'm a part of the the digital divide in that I'm really messed up with my hands, so I used a tablet in order to make calls for Biden and for Georgia, and I use a stylus or a key to code my stuff. But if we can get sent it again for the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club, because I just don't remember receiving it, and I've been the president for a while.
Yeah, we did send it, Howard, but is there somebody else we can send as well? So they can always, they could work.
The Pamela too.
Okay, all right.
Pamela Price is our secretary, so she can.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pamela Drake and Pamela Price.
Yeah,
Pamela
I can't
Price.
really see on the
Pamela Price. Yeah.
I'm trying to. I can't really see it on the chart, but you didn't get anything from Wellstone?
No.
Is that what that means?
And that it's fairly unusual. Yeah, because Jack's usually.
Okay. Well, we have a new administrator, and he's online right now. If he's still.
And my hand is up. I didn't get any emails, so I am taking Jack's new job, and it may be that Jack is getting emails, and I certainly didn't see them.
Well, you never know who's in
I
charge
will.
of Wellstone, so we generally send it to Jack.
I'll talk to Jack, but what should I do now, knowing that?
Is it Solly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just.
I have, with great reluctance, taken over Jack's job.
We'll send it to you. Solly. We'll send it to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the problem here.
Okay, the last hand up is Pamela Price.
Sure. I started to take my hand down. My hand went up and down, and I am the secretary for the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club. And I did find that apparently in November, this document went to Howard and then got distributed to us. So we apologize, and we will get this together. I guess I'm thinking that we did this in 2020. So I guess that's my only point of clarification. We did this last in 2019. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you do it every 2 years. And so it covers 2019 and 2020, and then we send it out at the end of 2020 for 2021, 22.
Okay.
It's a two-year charter.
Okay.
It does appear that it went out late last year, and then it just went into everybody's dark hole. So we apologize, and we will get it
holidays so hard. Yeah.
We will make it right.
We'll resend it just to be sure.
Okay,
right,
we thank you on behalf of the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club, and please come to our meeting 10 to noon Saturday.
Madam Chair, we have a motion on the floor to accept the conditional charter of those who have already been sent in their materials, as well as the Hayward Area Democratic Club to be fully chartered.
We have a second.
Second. We do have a second. George Perez.
Yes,
Got it.
that's what I have recorded. Is
Can we move it forward without objection?
It's fine by me.
Yep.
All
Thank you.
right. Congratulations to all of the Democratic clubs that are conditionally chartered, Hayward that's fully chartered. And I know that all of these others are going to get their things in and we can have them chartered at the next meeting. Can you please stop sharing your screen, Kelly?
Yep. Madam Chair, we're getting close to the 9:30. Can we have a motion to extend the meeting for another half hour, just in case?
Madam Chair, this is Howard Ackerman. I move to extend the meeting a half hour.
Without
All right.
objection.
Do we have a second?
Seconded, Marisha Spread.
Okay, all right. Without objection, we're going to extend it another 30 minutes.
Carrie, with the recording secretary, who's your second?
Howard.
Howard.
Who's your okay.
All right, thank you, folks. So
I
Is Musk?
Barisha seconded.
I seconded it.
okay, are you good, Karina? Do you have all of that? Karina?
Yes.
Okay. I think she's like me, doesn't realize that she's on mute for when she should. Okay. All right. So, this has been a big year. We've been doing a lot of things different. We've had a change in who the chair is. We're all getting to know each other. People have been waiting about committee appointments. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have Andy explain a Google poll that he's going to be doing so that folks can share what committees they want to be a part of, or maybe what they want to chair. And then that way we could look at it and just see how it fits and how it works out. Right now we have 4 standing committees: the Political Action Committee, Finance and Budget, Bylaws, Resolution/Outreach. So Andy will set up a poll and we will be looking at that, at people's interests. And what we really want to be cognizant about is making sure that there's diversity in each of the committees, and that there's diversity not only by who we are as individuals, but also where we live. So we don't want to see, let's say, for example, everything comes out of 80-20. That doesn't look so great. The optics are not great. So we want to make sure that there is diversity in our committees. And, I'm really excited. I've heard from a number of individuals who are ready and willing to serve. I'm very, very excited by the fact that people really want to get their hands into it, mix it up, and make things happen. So, Andy, can you talk about the Google poll, or however it's going to be done? And let me know if you need my help or Kelly's help in making this happen.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a point of order, Cheryl, because I don't know if you can see my hand up there, but there's people, there's chats on like crazy in a number of different places about, we need to honor the 9:30 cutoff, and we didn't even vote on whether to extend it. And so, it happened so quickly and all of a sudden we're extending it, but there are people that have other commitments and we got off agenda. So
we're still on agenda. We're still on agenda, and there was a motion and a second to extend the meeting for 30 minutes. And your hand, it blends in with your background. That's why I did not see your hand up.
Yeah, and I know that, and I'm just saying that it was so quick, it was hard to get to the point where, I know it's done. I'm just saying that, we ought to try to honor the agenda, particularly because my big point is we wait till the very last minute to do things that are very important, and we're pressed. So that's my only point.
All right, we could flip-flop those things, taking your information wholeheartedly. We could flip-flop the agenda to do the things that take more time. And I did spend extra time because I wanted as many people as possible to talk about the experience that they just had with the ADEMS.
Thank you.
So I gave them extra time out of respect for all of them. I want to be as transparent as possible and give people their opportunities to speak. And with that, Andy, if you could talk about the Google poll.
So I'll be real quick. can people see my screen? It's hard for me to tell as the host if I'm actually sharing.
Yeah, we could see it.
So this will go out tomorrow. It basically is really simple. It's just a Google form. Put your name, email address, phone number, your AD, and then I put a brief description. These aren't the descriptions from the bylaws, but they're a pretty decent description of what the different committees deal with. And so we're just asking folks to rank your first choice committee assignment, and then put a little reason why you want to be on that committee, what you're interested in, any relevant experiences that you have, and then a second choice committee, any reason or experience that you have, and a third choice committee, etc. It's fine if your answer is, I want to be on the committee. It doesn't need to be a long answer. But if you have a particular interest in part of communications or a particular interest in part of political action, like trainings or logistics or candidate recruitment, those are some of the areas that are in the descriptions. And then this is particularly interesting just to note if you're interested in chairing or co-chairing a committee. That might be a top-level committee. It might be one of the subcommittees that gets formed. And then this last area is also really important. It's optional, but do you have an idea for an additional committee or a different group or way in which we are structuring ourselves that we might want to think about? Overall comments are fine in here too, because we'll all look at them. And then, Madam Chair, did you have a deadline that you wanted these back by?
I think we should give people enough time to think about it. So can we do a 2-week deadline? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
We'll set a 2-week deadline from whenever. I'll put it in the email that I send out. And we'll put a 2-week deadline from whatever day that is. It'll probably be tomorrow that we'll email that out. But the idea here is we're going to try to match as many people with as many committee opportunities as we can. And hopefully this will be a more equitable process and a more a better way for folks to get a kind of weigh in on what they're interested in doing, because we all have talents and interests that we don't know about. And also many of us might have skills that we use in our day jobs, but we don't necessarily want to use those skills other places, or you're excited about one thing or another. So I don't think that we need to take questions on this unless there are questions. I know people
Andy?
want to be conscious of the time. Yeah, Sherry?
Do you want to clarify about the different people, the elected and the alternates and the associates, and how that works?
Oh, sure. That's just that we're only asking for that just so we have it in one place in the answers. But elected members, or you were elected on the ballot last March. Alternate members, or you're the alternate who was appointed to represent a voting member. Associates are the folks that we confirmed tonight. I may have missed club reps. Let me make sure club reps are on there. Associates are the members who were put on tonight. Ex officios are folks like Rocky who and the assembly members who are on the committee by virtue of another office they hold. And so we just want to also try to have a diversity of different types of members on the committees, which is why we're trying to track that too.
Thank you, Andy. That's a great job. We have some hands raised. I think Jim and Diana Perola were first, then Melissa, then Igor.
Yeah, well, will this go out to the club reps too, Andy, did you say?
Yeah, it'll go out to all the different types of members that we have.
Okay.
And I would ask that the AD vice chairs for the ADs that haven't yet confirmed their associates also send it to those folks once they're figured out, so that we can try to include them in the first round of appointments.
Melissa, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I'm a little concerned because I know that we're going to do our associates on Sunday, but I sent the club rep for SAC Pro Dems in, and we have not accepted that person as our club rep. So SAC Pro Dems currently has no club rep, and I'm assuming there might be other clubs that might be in the same situation. So when are we going to officially accept the new club representatives, and will they have an opportunity to serve on these committees? And if the deadline's in 2 weeks and we still haven't accepted them, how is that going to work?
We'll definitely continue to appoint new people to committees as they join the committee. But my suggestion would be that if the clubs know who their club rep's going to be, that they just simply have that person fill out the form. And then we can, appoint them pending their confirmation. But so if you've already identified, I think that's the best thing to do. Most of the club reps haven't been confirmed yet. And so that's probably the best way, unless the chair would like to use another method.
I'm fine with what you've explained, Andy. It sounds very fair and inclusive. Melissa, are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering when the club reps are going to be.
Yeah, and we did select, we did select our club rep. So we do have a club rep.
Is that Annie Karuka?
Yes, it is.
Yes. All right. So we'll make sure that she's on the distribution list. Hi, Annie. There you are.
Hey, yeah, I usually.
We'll wish that they are on the distribution list. My apologies, Annie. And you'll be sure to get that email. Barisha, follow up with me.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other hands up?
The process to appoint club reps is for club presidents to send a note to the chair. It gets we can add people to things. It would be helpful if we could make sure to actually confirm the appointed club reps. That's the only way they get onto the roster. And it's very challenging for Karina and I when we have people not on the roster.
Madam Chair, this is Howard. I think you have Joseph for Oakland East Bay, right? Because we sent Joseph's name in, Joseph Campor.
Howard, please resend it. Howard or Pamela, just resend it to make sure we have it.
Because Joseph got something from Mandy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I sent Joseph the agenda.
So I think he's in the works, I believe, right?
I try, if someone tells me who their club rep or alternate is going to be, I try to remember to send that person the materials so that they have it. But that is not the same as the committee process for us to confirm those people as appointed so they get on the roster, which would be good for us to do. And we keep putting off. I'm not quite sure why.
Point of clarification on club reps. Every time we reorganize every 2 years, the presidents have to resend club reps with all their information to put onto the roster. Also, you need to be a charter club in order to add your club reps. So you need to get in your charter material.
Okay. We're going to do that. We're meeting Saturday, 10 o'clock, Robin. Join
Perfect.
us.
Yep.
Come on by. You can take the long trip from San Leandro to Civilization in East Oakland.
Okay, Howard, you are the greatest host and greatest speaker of East Oakland. Thank you. But we do have a lot more to get done, so we're going to move forward. I'm going to flip-flop. I'm going to ask either Bobby or Igor to give us the legislation subcommittee report, and then we'll do resolutions after that. We'll ask for either Michael or Barisha to give the resolutions report.
Okay, great. We're going to try to be quick. So what I think we've agreed to do, I hope this works with everybody, is Igor's going to put this stuff on the screen. I'm going to go through it quickly. And then if anybody wants to pull something that they have more questions on, we can discuss it. So what we have that has been presented to us is AB 20, Political Reform Act of 1974, the Clean Money Act of 2021, which is by our very own Assembly members, Alex Lee and Ashkara. Basically, it undoes the harm by Citizens United that opened the floodgates of corporate money. This bill prohibits business entities from contributing directly to any candidate for elected office. Next, we have AB 71, called the Bring California Home Act. It's a big issue for affordable housing providers, but again, by a lot of our folks, Bloom, Chu, Wicks, Luz Rivas. And it basically would raise about $2.4 billion for homelessness solutions through increasing revenue, looking at the corporate tax rate for companies making more than $5 million in profits from 8.84 to 9.6, and also taxing income earned in California that large multinational corporations have tried to shift to low tax jurisdictions. Next one we have is AB 89, Peace Officers, by Assemblymember Joan Sawyer. This is really interesting. It increases the minimum age to peace officers from 18 to 25. I'm a native Spanish speaker, so if I'm going too fast, let me know. Increase minimum wage to peace officer from 18 to 25, unless that person has a bachelor or advanced degree, but it does not affect peace officers that are currently employed. Next one, we have AB 328, which is the reentry housing program to Colorado Wicks. Basically, it's really providing housing for those folks who are formerly incarcerated. So it's a great, great idea. Next thing we have is AB 387, the Social Housing Act by Assemblymember Lee, who's part of our central committee, basically allowing the state of California to be in the business of creating affordable housing, to be in almost like a public housing authority, but social housing is a better way to say it. Okay, moving on. AB 464. This is enhancing infrastructure financing districts by Assemblymember Mullen. This is something new about, with bond money to create affordable housing, and hasn't been very used. And so there's some idea of creating some flexibilities for this, for EIFDs to be used for social services, affordable housing, and small businesses, which is really needed right now. Moving on to AB 624, youth fair. And there should be a sheet you should have gotten earlier that it summarizes everything. Youth Fair Process Acts, basically this impacts transfers of minors from juvenile court to a court of criminal jurisdictions. Some of the lawyers in the group who do criminal justice reform might want to add to what I just said. Moving forward, we have, what do we have next? AB 1400, I don't think I need to explain that. It has a lot of our local assembly members involved in this, but basically it's single payer. Moving on to SB 467, prohibition on fracking. Also, Calra and Senator Wiener and Limon prohibition on fracking. Next, we have SB 639, which is minimum wages, persons with disabilities, making sure that our folks who are differently abled aren't paid less than the minimum wage. Moving on next. I think we're missing one. Igor. We should have AB 1199. Maybe it's up there. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you. Which is the new thing a lot of tenant rights organizations are pushing, which is basically a tax on mega corporations that hoard single family homes and amass huge portfolios of rent buildings. And it would be about 1.1 to 1.6 billion to use for first time homebuyer education, rental assistance, and it would be basically going for sort of the large corporations that do that. And I can explain more about that later. Going back to SB Senate Resolution 46, I think it's self-explanatory. Cancel student debt. I think we've all heard about in the news by Senator Schumer out of New York. And then following is Senate Bill Resolution 5, which is basically the Recovery Act, which I think we've also heard a lot about. And then I know that this one, I think, Igor, you put on, so I might ask you to sort of speak to that. And I think that's it. Did I do that quick enough or too fast?
1163, which came to us.
Yes. Thank you. Go ahead, Igor. Go ahead.
Legislation, and this would reinstate the ability of cities to do soda taxes. Also, just wanted to mention that AB 89, this is a key priority within the Bay Area, where one of the last remaining Republicans is the elected sheriff, and this would remove requirements allowing more people to run for sheriff. And Bobby, you did an amazing job. I think there's a question from Robin, but it might also.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, just because we want to approve these, are these close to the final stages, or are these bills in early process still? So there could be a lot of revision, because we usually don't like to vote for something that's going to change completely 180 from from what we agree to, you know, what we support. So can you tell us what the status is? Thanks, Igor.
Thanks, Robin. Yeah, so historically, what we've done with all of these endorsements is we've endorsed them with a proviso that the final bill hews closely to the intent. What you see here is probably the strongest version of whatever legislation might end up surviving the two houses and getting a signature. But if it becomes a gut and amend or something else, then with that proviso, we would be removing our support for it if we vote on it tonight.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Igor.
Thank you.
Rocky, I see you have your hand up. Maybe not.
Yeah, so I did, and I'm just going to say the committee hearings are starting in the next couple of weeks, and this is where a lot of moderate Democrats are able to squash legislation. They like to do it at every level, but I would just say that sometimes it's really important to do this, and yeah, I'm sure Igor and Bobby and everybody else who's going to be involved with legislation will bring it back if it really drastically changes, but it's never too early to get your name behind something and get it moving through what you think would be an easy process. It's not.
If I may,
can I just mention, I just wanted it out there because we have a lot of new people out on the committee, and they should know that we normally would back something like this, but if it really changes the intent, then we would not, so thank you for the clarification for everybody.
And if I may direct respond, we had a really great legislative meeting right before here. I think we had over 10 people, if not more. And of course, more people are welcome. But I think we definitely discussed about, there's, I think, some great ideas circulating about how we can really support these bills, especially the ones that are coming from our, regional assembly members, as well as things that are, pertinent and impactful to Alameda County. And so there's talk of actually sending letters and doing things. So there's a lot of excitement. So thank you guys for the folks that showed up. Really appreciate it.
Terry, I'd like to make a motion that we approve these recommendations of the committee.
I would second that motion.
I'm sorry, who did the second?
Paola Laverde.
Okay, thank you, Paula. I love your
This is Karina Lopez. I would like to do a friendly amendment, if Sherry would allow, and the seconder would allow, that we approve support, but with the contingency that if any of these are substantially changed, that we would revisit that support.
Yes, I will accept that friendly amendment.
Okay.
Thank you,
So SB 271 is on here, right? Because I don't see it, even though I heard Igor mention.
Did it? I think
we endorsed that last time.
Endorsed that.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you're okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Meetings tire me.
Sherry, for the help of Karina, can you please restate your motion?
Yes, my motion is that we send these recommendations, we approve these recommendations with the stipulation that if the bill is substantially changed, that we will reconsider our endorsement.
Do we have a second to the friendly amendment?
Second. Howard Ackerman, second.
Howard Ackerman.
It was seconded previously by the Honorable Paola Laverde, and I think if she's open to
okay.
Open to the changes. Thank you.
All right. Can we move this without objection? Okay. We'll move it forward. Congratulations, Igor and Bobby. Great job. All right. So the next thing that we're going to go to the resolutions committee report, and we're asking for either Barisha or Michael or both of them to give the report. And given that I do not know parliamentarian and Robert's Rules of Orders as well as our master parliamentarian, I'm asking Royce Kelly to make sure that we stay on point and keep track of what other conversations we have. Just want to put that forward in advance. All right, Barisha, Michael, which of you are give the report?
Yeah, thank you. Barisha and I are currently the co-chairs, and I'm going to do the first one and she'll do the second two. And that's a total of 3 that we have. The first one is about the anti-Asian sentiment in the community. and we passed it unanimously, but afterwards, after some discussion, Austin suggested some language in the resolve that's slightly stronger and I think definitely better. So I'm going to read that to you, and then if Austin wants to comment, he may. So the slightly revised version is, therefore it be resolved, the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee acknowledge the attacks on our elderly Asian seniors and call on our local communities and local leaders to condemn and denounce anti-Asian sentiment and to be invited to the table in order to heal our respective communities. Austin, you want to say anything or not?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alfred, for helping me, and Surrender Chan from the Alameda County Asian Pacific Islander Democratic Caucus. I just want to obviously acknowledge things that have been happening in the community, Asian community, and also we need to look at the root causes, obviously, of what's going on with poverty, homelessness, anti-racism, and I just thank you.
Yeah, that's something.
I see Robin has her hand up and Howard has his hand up. Howard, the floor is yours.
Yes, I just want to mention I'm also the senior caucus secretary, and I'm extremely concerned that the main people who are attacked are senior citizens. And as a native Californian, our state has a rich history of anti-Asian discrimination that culminated in 1941 and 42 with the basically imprisonment of Japanese Americans in internment camps. I really think we should commend Austin for his great work on this resolution and adopt it.
Okay, Robin, did you not mean to have your hand up?
I didn't, but why I might as well just add, I support this. I just wanted to add that the maker of the motion resubmit the changes so that we have a good copy of the final process, the final submission. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did already send this to the leadership, this revised version.
Thanks.
Yes, this is recording secretary. I have received that changed language for the record. So if it's the same, Michael, that you sent me, I've got it. Thank you.
All right. I see Art has his hand up.
Yes, thank you. This is Art Douglas Blackshear, Austin Tam. I stand with you, African American male, NAACP lifetime member. We stand with you, and we condemn as a member, lifetime member. I condemn the actions that are going on in the Asian community. Thank you.
All right.
Have a vote.
So we're gonna take these one by one. Do we have a motion?
I move to support this resolution, Madam Chair.
Do we have a second?
Howard, I second the
Andrea.
motion.
Okay, we're gonna have Robin as moving it and Andrea as seconding it.
Okay.
Can we move it without objection? Without objection, congratulations, Austin. Okay, so Michael, I believe that Barisha is going to go next.
Correct.
Title of this resolution is in support of hazard pay for grocery store workers during the length of the state of emergency induced by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee expresses its firm support for the immediate implementation of hazard pay ordinances during the length of the COVID-19 induced state of emergency in the state of California, Alameda County, and or local jurisdictions, whichever expires last, in every municipal jurisdiction in all unincorporated areas within Alameda County. Be it further resolved that the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee is authorized to send letters in support of implementing hazard pay ordinances to all applicable decision-making bodies in Alameda County, including city councils and the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. And I would like to open the floor for discussion.
Okay. I got. I'm a hand up.
I'm going to learn this like when I'm 90. All right. So
Okay,
we have
I'm a
Howard
hand up.
first, Howard first, then
Okay.
Lance, then Igor, then our new alternate, Michael Henneberry. Oh, and Paula.
Okay. Just want to just mention for the Alameda County Central Labor Council has been working hard to get hazard pay for food service workers. And I'm the grandson of the time retail clerks. I think this is needed. And I'm really proud of the Central Labor Council for getting this in Oakland, Berkeley, and San Leandro. And I think it's really warranted for bus drivers and a lot of other people as well due to the pandemic. But I really applaud the Central Labor Council, and we need to support labor and support this resolution.
Thank you, Howard. Then Lance.
Not to be mean to anybody or to cut off anybody's time, but we actually only have about 5 more minutes until 10 o'clock. So either we need to move to extend time or we need to hurry up and motion. I'm down to motion to approve this resolution, but also, yeah.
I'll second that motion.
So how long are you moving to extend the meeting?
I haven't moved that. I'm moving to approve the resolution on the floor.
You're moving for the resolution on the floor. Okay, and then
Seconded the motion.
And Nancy's second. Can we move can we move this resolution without objection? Seeing no objection, congratulations to those of you that worked so hard in getting this resolution. All right, we're getting at 9:56. I'd like to see if somebody would make a motion to extend the meeting.
Madam Chair, Howard, I move that we extend the meeting 15 minutes because I have to work tomorrow and have a long commute from upstairs to downstairs. So I need my sleep.
I will second the motion, although I have a shorter commute than Howard.
Okay, so
Thank
Howard
you.
made the motion and Barisha made the second to extend the meeting another 15 minutes. Thank you. Okay, Barisha, let's get going, girlfriend. What's the last
Okay.
one?
Well, I object. You have an objection. There was no calling for objection, so I want to object.
Object to extending the meeting or objecting to the resolution?
No, extending the meeting.
Okay. Does anybody else object? All right, we don't have a majority of people objecting, so we're gonna, oh, I see Cheryl Cook has her hand up. I can see her hand now. Okay, maybe she didn't mean to have her hand up. All right, without further objection.
Wait, no, I did mean to, I'm sorry, I did mean to have my hand up.
Okay.
I also object, and I object because I think it dishonors people's time who have planned for a meeting to last a certain amount of time. And we inevitably go way over, and people have children, they have work the next day, they've got other things they need to do, and it dishonors the time.
All right, Michael, do you have your hand up? You're on mute.
Not Michael Barnett.
Henneberry.
Mike Henneberry. Hi, everybody. I just had a procedural question. If there's objections, don't you have to have a roll call vote?
I think you should just have a yes and no vote, a voice vote.
Yes, we can have a show of hands vote. A roll call vote would probably take us past the time. So I think we should take
Gotcha.
that show of hands.
So it's a show of hands. Okay.
Okay, so the show of hands is those who want to extend the meeting an additional 15 minutes. Raise your hand.
Please try to raise your hand in the participation box if you can.
What box?
If you can't find the raise hand, it's fine just to click the yes button.
Confirm? All right. I don't know why I just did.
It should be under reactions or
I just confirmed somebody's a friend on Facebook. I don't know what I'm doing.
You raise it. If you don't know how, just raise your hand in video.
Okay. Okay. This guy's probably
There's
in
folks voting who aren't really eligible to vote, but it looks like we have 22 eligible votes.
A point of order, I would request that people who are not eligible to vote should not be raising their hands. If you
I
were not
second that.
elected to this position, you should not be raising your hand.
Yeah, I second that. That's not the right way to do that. Then you can have.
That's
people
why I
voting
subtracted 3 people from the 25 hands that were raised to say it's about 22.
I think it's clearly passed.
Can we take the nays, Madam Chair? Lower the hands and take the nays?
Yes, please. And everybody lower their hands right now so that we could get fresh hands going up for those who oppose.
Andy did that.
Thank you.
Please clarify what we're voting on.
We're voting on
Raise your hand if you want to vote no on extending time.
This is people that do not want to extend the time.
Yes.
Yes.
In other words, this is if you want to adjourn.
Yeah.
Which I'm about 5 minutes from making that movement anyways.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is less than 22. So the motion to extend 15 minutes to 10:15 passes.
All right. Thank you, Andy and Royce, for your assistance in this.
But it's passable.
I'm sorry, Mario? You're on mute. Oh, okay. Okay, Barisha, can you talk about, this is the final resolution, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
The title is urging Governor Gavin Newsom to appoint a Northern California leader as California Attorney General. Therefore, it be resolved that with this appointment opportunity, the Alameda County Democratic Party joins the California Democratic Party Women's Caucus and the California Democratic Party Black Caucus and strongly urges the governor to consider Contra Costa District Attorney Diane Becton for the appointment as the next California Attorney General and use this historic opportunity to break barriers by appointing the second African-American woman to serve as California's Attorney General. I'd like to open up the meeting for comments.
All right, so we have Martha Krieger first, Karen Weinstein second, Howard Eggerman third.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Do we need to have a motion in a second before we have discussion?
Royce.
Well, actually, it's moved on behalf of the Resolutions Committee, so that's,
thank you.
That makes for a motion in a second by itself.
All right, who did I call on first? Was it Karen?
No, it was Martha.
Yeah, and my hand was still up from the voting, and I'm so apologetic of that. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
All right, Karen, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. Okay, I do have a question about this. There is a section that says something about the Women's Democratic Caucus. And I'm not aware that joins the California Democratic Party Women's Caucus. Are you talking about the Democratic Party Women's Caucus, or are you talking about the Democratic Legislative Women's Caucus?
This is Pamela. I'm the author. It's the California Legislative Women's Caucus and the California Legislative Black Caucus.
So you need to change that.
Okay, I'll accept that as a friendly amendment, I guess. That's fine.
Thank you.
All right, next in the queue, Howard Eggerman.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, I strongly support this. We feel that there's two great candidates for Attorney General, Rob Bonta from Alameda and Diana Becton from Contra Costa County, who was born in Oakland and went to Castlemont High. The Democratic Party has been built by African-American women. And what our club did was emphasize the role of Stacey Abrams in fighting for the votes in Georgia. And thanks to Stacey's efforts, what happened is we have a Democratic Senate and Joe Biden can try to get things done. African-American women have done a lot for our party and our nation. I'm really proud to wear the T-shirt for Kamala Harris on Monday when I got my shot at her birthplace, Kaiser Hospital. I think this is in keeping with the diversity of our party in supporting this resolution because we have two great candidates in both Rob and Diana Becton, and I urge support of this resolution.
Okay, in the interest of time, I would like to take 3 speakers in favor of the resolution and 3 speakers not in favor of the resolution. Howard, you're going to be one of the people that is in favor. Karen just asked a clarifying question, so that doesn't count in the 3 for 3. Austin and Pamela, I'm going to ask both of you to speak in favor of the resolution.
Yes. I'm next.
You're next, Austin.
Yes. I wholeheartedly support this. I think we need to vote to endorse this as well. Diane Becton as well. You know, in a lot of right races that have happened since 2012. There's been dual endorsements. Once again, let's not forget Abel versus Rob, Betty versus John Perez, Lonnie Hancock versus Wilma Chan. And, you know, and especially to celebrate right now the Women History Month. And also when it comes to as a Chinese and as an Asian American, especially with the attacks going on and with the communities, African American community and the Chinese Asian American community coming together, this is very much needed, especially because it's very, you know, to have Diane Becton to be voted on as well. Thank you.
All right, Pamela Price. You're on mute, Pamela. And I do that all the time, so you're not being
sorry. Yeah, no, I appreciate that the resolutions committee did vote to advance this in favor of this resolution despite some irregularities. And I want to certainly co-sign what Austin said. This is a time, particularly in Oakland, where we are really, everyone is very invested in making sure that we honor and respect the contributions of the API community. The African American community has come together to reject the hatred and the racism that's been visited upon the Asian community in Oakland. And so I think it's important that we recognize that there is no need to be adverse or adversarial between Filipino or Black or Asian and Black. That's not where we are right now, at least not in Oakland, and certainly not in the 18th Assembly District, which Oakland is the heart of. And so it's appropriate for us in Women's History Month, and as we often pay homage and respect and appreciation for racial justice, we say we're invested in it. We need to recognize that Black women have been at the heart not only of this democracy, but have been the most adversely impacted by the criminal justice system. And we cannot discount the opportunity to have a Black woman, a progressive district attorney, take on the challenges of being the California Attorney General. So I just want to urge people to think carefully about what message you're sending if you don't support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. I'm going to ask everybody to put their hands down. And then once everybody's hands are down, then we're going to have the people that want to speak in opposition to the resolution put their hands up. All right, I see Debbie Pearson, Mike Henneberry, and Robin Torello. So we're going to go Debbie, Mike, then Robin.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to go to my iPhone because my pad died. But I think that it's really important that when we're talking supporting somebody from Alameda County who happens to be part of the API, and to support him wholly and totally, the Cocoa County hasn't even endorsed her as of yet. So why should Alameda County go first? I think that it's really important that we support Rob Bonta, Assemblymember Bonta, because he has been good for our county. He has done a lot for working people. He has always supported us in every way that we've asked him to support. And I think it's really important that we show him the loyalty that he's given us by giving him a sole endorsement for this.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to Mike Henneberry. You're on mute, Mike.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Henneberry, and thank you for having me back. I took a little break there, but Rob reappointed me as his alternate, so it's nice to see all of you, even if it's just on Zoom. I agree with Debbie on the jurisdictional issue here. There seems to be one. Ms. Becton lives and works in Contra Costa, so it would seem to me that it'd be a more proper way to do it would be to follow Contra Costa's lead on this endorsement. Chuck Carpenter, who's in charge of the endorsement committee for the Contra Costa Party, says there is no resolution under consideration by their organization to make an endorsement on her. So I think it would make sense to follow them and follow their lead. I wasn't frankly aware of a difference between the CDP Black Caucus and the CDP Women's Caucus and the CDP Legislative Caucus for those organizations. So I was going to say they haven't made an endorsement or urged the governor to do anything on this, but I may not be correct on that. So if we could have that, verified, that would, because I heard something else. But in any case, I think the jurisdictional issue, that comes up a lot in unions. It also comes up in democratic politics sometimes. And I think we would be well off to follow Contra Costa's lead. So I would just urge you to vote no on this resolution. Don't abstain. Use your vote. Vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And then Robin will be the final of the three against the resolution.
Yes, thank you. I've mentioned that the last time this came up, but I'll say it again. As past chair, there is a kind of an unwritten protocol that the person, the elected individual, is nominated and a resolution is sponsored by the local Democratic Party, and in this case it would be the Contra Costa Democratic Party. And we have spoken as the Alameda County Democratic Party to support our local representative, Rob Bonta, who's given years of support to the Democratic Party. He is a member of the API caucus. He's one of the most progressive people in the legislature. And I think if we truly want to have full representation in the State House in regard to the AG's office, we should fully support only Rob Bonta. And I supported Diana Becton when she ran for DA. As a past president of National Women's Political Caucus, I've always supported women running for office. But in this case, I think we should be supporting only Rob Bonta for this recommendation to Governor Newsom. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It is getting late. I really appreciate that people kept their comments to a minute or a little bit over a minute. So thank everybody. All right. So is there any type of emotion? Actually, we're getting to it's 8:15 now. To finish this up, we're going to need another 15 minutes maximum.
Move to extend time by 5 minutes.
Second. Howard Ackerman, second.
Good, 5 minutes. I'll deal
All
with
those
that.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All those opposed?
5 more minutes.
Bye.
All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to lower your hands. And is there a motion on the floor?
Yeah, the motion is from the Resolutions Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Okay. So the motion is to move this recommendation forward from the Resolutions Committee. It was passed. So what we're going to do is...
Madam Chair, I just want clarification. Does Rob want to have two alternates? I heard that Mario Juarez is alternate and Michael the last name is
Michael Henneberry is now Rob Bonta's alternate. This was done in advance of the meeting, and Mario Juarez is fully aware of it.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate the question. Okay, so the motion is all those in favor of supporting the resolution in support of Diane Becton, please raise your hand. We'll give you another 30 seconds. At this moment, we have 15 in support. And only those that can vote may vote.
Come on, guys.
Okay, I believe the 30 seconds are up. So for those that can, okay, please, everybody, put your hands down.
They're all in Bonta's camp.
Sure, he's in our camp.
Is she?
Yeah.
Trying to put my hand down. There we go.
Okay, so now the vote is for those that are opposed to the resolution in support of Diane Becton for Attorney General. Please raise your hand.
Terry, this is Debbie Pearson. I can't raise my hand. I've been kicked out. So I do have I have my hand raised to vote no.
Okay, thank you. So I'll mark that.
Terry, can we verify whether Julie Koski is online, please?
I can't figure out, I don't see the hand raising anymore either. What's going on?
You can click the yes, Pam, or the no, or any button that shows a reaction.
I don't have anything.
It's under the more.
It all went away.
Andy, I can't. Andy, this is Karina. I can't raise my hand.
Okay, so
So
Pamela,
James
are you raising your hand in opposition?
Yes.
Okay, Karina, you're raising your hand in opposition.
Correct.
Point of clarification, John and Sybil are together, so that should count as two, shouldn't it? As opposed to one.
They are not both elected members, as far as I know.
Actually,
Yes,
John,
we are.
on behalf of Bob Wachowski.
Can we clarify that all the people who are voting are in fact entitled to vote since we've had
Yes,
this
please.
problem?
This is Phil Daly. I'm voting on behalf of Ellen Corbett. I'm her alternate.
And John and Sybil are both eligible to vote.
Why?
Because Sybil is an elected and John is the alternate for Bob Wachowski.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
How many other alternates are voting?
I'm voting Phil Daly. I'm voting on behalf of Ellen Corbett.
And Ellen, just for full transparency, Ellen Corbett let me know in advance that she could not attend the meeting and that Phil would be voting under her direction. Okay, so how many hands do we?
Wait, Paola, who's Victor's alternate? Because is Victor not here? Victor's not here right now. So who's Victor's alternate?
I am Austin. I already voted.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay.
All right.
How do we verify that the people who are voting are entitled to vote?
Look at the list.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
a
All right.
I see
So
somebody
you're
from
doing-
AD 15 whose hands is up, who did not win their election. Just curious, just point of information.
Yeah, we need to be transparent.
Okay, so who is the person that you're questioning, Paula or Austin?
I'm questioning George Perez Velez. He did not win the election. So who is he representing? Sorry, George.
That's okay. You should be informed of your caucus, so you should have this information available for you if you attend the meetings. I am the alternate for Julie Caskey.
But Julie was just on.
Julie's not voting on this motion. She's not
But
online.
I saw her come on and get off. Well, okay.
As long as a member and their alternate are both not voting on a motion, it's appropriate. For
Julie's
the
on now.
I'm sorry,
Julie is
point of
on there.
order. I would like to ask the parliamentarian. It's my understanding that an alternate cannot vote unless their member is absent.
Yep.
Yes, that is correct.
And Julie Caskey is here right now.
She was not absent today.
She's not absent. She's under Jim, same Democrat and Diane Prola. Now Julie left again. Why is
No,
she coming
I'm
back
here.
on and off?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Zoom kicked me off a couple of minutes ago, so I had to go back and find the link.
Okay, so Julie, the question is, are you voting in support of the resolution for Diane Becton, or are you voting in opposition to the resolution?
I'm voting in opposition.
Whoop, there it is.
Comments, please, no comments like that.
We are at time. Do I need to make a motion to?
We want to have a warrants committee. I'll create a warrant.
I'll second that motion for, Igor, I'll second that motion.
Just count the votes.
Just count the votes.
Just
count the votes.
Yes, we're actually in the middle of a vote, so.
Yeah.
Do we have the
there's no
results
need to
yet?
extend it. Once the business is happening, it's happening.
All right, don't trust me, this is more Karina and Kelly. Looks like we have 21 in opposition and 15 in support.
Terry, this is Marie Gilmore.
Yes.
I just want to register my abstention.
Okay, so we have one abstention.
Terry, I think you inverted the numbers. The first vote was people supporting. This current vote is people opposing.
That's what I thought. Okay. The opposing, I have 21. And the people that are supporting, I have 15. And I need somebody to confirm that I counted correctly.
Well, 14 hands were raised.
There were a few people who indicated that they were voting no who didn't raise their hand.
There are
Some of us couldn't raise our hands, so we can't just
In
count
that,
now.
in that count, it includes Debbie Pearson, Pamela Drake, Karina Lopez, Phil Daly, one for John or Sybil because they both can vote, and one for Julie Caskey.
So can one of our executive people, such as our recording secretary, please confirm the vote so we can all adjourn and go to bed?
Yes, please.
This is the recording secretary. Unfortunately, I am not the host, so I can't see the total, but what I see in front of me is the 14. I can't see them visibly, but I see the cumulative number of 14 plus the names that were given by the Madam Chair as the number. And we're still looking to register the abstention. And just note also, like, if anybody wants to know, like, who voted for whom and so forth and so on, that will not happen unless there's a roll call vote, which this is not.
We should give you a roll call.
So
No.
Come on. Yeah, I move for a roll call vote.
I second.
Motion to roll
I
call.
move for a
No,
roll
no.
call
Motion
vote.
to roll
I second the
call.
motion for a roll call vote.
Roll call. We're all at home.
Roll
So
call.
chill out.
Okay, then let's end the meeting. I'm not doing that. That's crazy.
Well,
You're
come
welcome
on. You
to
guys
leave
no,
and not vote, Pamela.
Point of
No,
order.
we need a roll call vote.
No,
Point
you
of
don't.
Igor,
Somebody can move to adjourn.
Time has
Oh,
I
expired.
second it.
Time has expired for this meeting. We did
Time's
not.
expired.
And a motion to
Oh,
adjourn
really? Are you
takes
kidding me?
precedence.
No.
Okay.
okay, so now we're up to 22 in opposition and 15 in support, 1 abstention. Do we have a motion to adjourn without deciding on this?
Make sure it's
That is
on this vote.
decided. That is the vote. If it's
Well, to make sure it's on this
Yeah,
vote
you
because
guys
we
want to-
It is an honest
we
vote.
cannot trust
Look at it for yourself.
we cannot trust the process. Come on, look at the 8 process. We cannot.
Could people
trust the
on both
process.
sides of this issue wait to
No.
be recognized by the chair before speaking so that we can all proceed in an orderly fashion?
Thank you, Solly. Please respect the chair.
Okay, so everybody please lower your
Terry, you just muted yourself too.
I just swore, so it's a good thing I muted myself. All right. So we're up to 22 people that are opposed to the resolution, 15 in support of the resolution. The votes fail to pass the resolution. We are not going to do we're not going to do a floor vote because otherwise it's going to go too late. I am making a motion to take that the resolution failed and then to adjourn this meeting in honor of Brendolyn Goodall's upcoming historic monumental freaking birthday, and also in memory of Olivia Valle, Supervisor Richard Valle's beloved mother who passed away last week. Do I have a second?
Second by Igor.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any of those mofos.
Aye.
All right, thank you,
Aye.
everybody.
Good night.
We're adjourned.
Good night. Thank you for your patience.